To Evaporate in the Universe, the Autobiography of Professor Bhagat Ram Kamal, written by Bhagat Ram Kamal, read for you by Chiquito Joachim Crasto. What conclusion did I reach when I found out that I do not manifest or appear within anybody? Then I also leave the mind and all its appearances. Then remains light and sound. Every 2 or 3 months, or sometimes every 3 days, when I go and search for that entity that listens to the sound, then my being disappears. What remains? Nothing. Now I think to myself, if I have become something by reaching that place, if I can do something, then I should be able to remove all the problems that the world is facing right now. If they could, the ancestors from the past would have removed their problems or difficulties. Baba Sawant Singh would have removed his troubles. Swamiji would have alleviated his disease. Kabir had kidney problems for 10 years in the old age. So what did I understand? What is my realization of this supreme element, Tattva? I am a bubble of the supermost consciousness. In the process of evolution, I appeared or manifested. Similarly, you also appeared. I did not exist before, and I won't exist again. Only one element will remain from which this bubble came into existence. Baba Faqir Chand. Since this knowledge came to me, I ceased to be caught up in the whirlpool of the mind, and transcended it. Now, I look upon all these manifestations as mere Maya. Forward with gratitude. My well-wishers and friends have been asking me to write about my life and my association with His Holiness for the last many years. However, I always hesitated to write when, last year, I visited America. Sri Ashwani Kumar Sagar of Los Angeles and Professor David C. Lane, my old associate since 1978, also inspired me to write. So, I picked up my pen, and here is my whole life as a mirror to see. I have written each and every aspect of my whole life without holding back on my social, family life, education, government service, and my life from the year 1956 AD to 1981 AD. In the holy company of my Satguru, Satpurush Paramdayal Faqir Chand Ji Maharaj. I say it with confidence, that I did nothing in my life of my own, but I have lived as per his will, or Mauj. I express my gratitude to Sri Chanan Ramji, our office superintendent, to spare his time and give first reading to my manuscript. This book might not have been seen the light of this day, if Sri Madan Lal Ji Patti, son of Sri Hansraj Ji, the great devotee of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, had not come forward to retype and give this final shape to this book. I wish for his health and happy long life. Professor Bhagat Ram Kamal, retired principal once, Dayal Kamal now. To evaporate in the universe at his Mauj. Chapter 1. My early tryst with destiny. As told by my mother, I was born on 3rd Sawan month of the Indian calendar corresponding to 18 July of AD 1938 under the thatched roof of a kacha house in my village, Marnayan Kalan. My mother was Srimati Rao Kaur and my father was Sri Ishardas. I was the third male child in the family to my parents. As I started to gain awareness of my surroundings, I did not find any sign of the religious atmosphere in the house. In 1943-44, my grandfather decided to divide the joint family and along with my father purchased 2 plots of almost equal size away from the old habitation. So, 2 kacha separate houses with a common courtyard came into existence. The source of income initially was weaving. Later, my father started a business of purchase and sale of buffaloes, which was quite successful. My mother started to rear the buffaloes for household necessities. But poverty was always dominating us all, since there was no regular source of income. At the age of 6, a school teacher from our village persuaded my father to admit me in his school at a distance of 1 mile. My father, fearing additional burden upon the family, was not willing, but later agreed, and I joined district board school at a distance of 1 mile. The teacher, Sri Pyara Singh Ji, was very kind to help me at the time of need. The school dress was very simple. 1 shirt, 1 knicker, half pant of khaki color, but no shoes. It could be severely cold in the winter, or too hot in the summer, but I was to go to school in bare feet and come back without making a demand for shoes. Editor's note: a kacha house is usually made of mud, brick, and or other earthen materials. Because of such construction, they don't usually last long. My mother used to get up very early to grind corn flour on the manual grinder known as chakki, and sometimes I used to sit with her on the opposite side to help her to grind the flour for us for the whole day for all members of the family. I had to finish it well in time, as I was to leave for school on time. My mother arranged fodder for cattle and looked after them for milk. As for our diet, there were no vegetables, fruits, or sweets. Our food was simple: dal, green leaves, curd, lassi during winter. It was mainly with mustard leaves and spinach known as saag. Once it so happened, I came from school and was very hungry. I put my bag aside and asked my mother for food. My mother, as she was busy along with my father for some work, said, "Beta, chapatis are there in the container wrapped in cloth. Have it." I caught the chapatis in my hand and asked for dal or curd. My mother was silent. I again asked my mother, "With what am I to eat these chapatis?" My father thundered, "Beta, eat them with your mouth." So the problem was solved. I took a bowl, filled it with water, added salt and chili powder, dipped every morsel in this mixture and ate to my fill without any complaint, for fear that I may not be stopped to go to school next day. Facing all possible odds, I passed 4th primary, and teacher advised me to join a high school to make a happy life. But I was afraid of my parents that they may say no and put me to some menial work for money. However, my teacher was so kind to me and encouraged my father to admit me in high school and assured that he would help me in my studies as and when required. Editor's note: chakki, usually made of coarse stone to grind wheat or other types of grain. I joined Layalpur Sanatan Dharma School, Basi Daud Khan, at a distance of about 6 miles. This school is situated on Phagwara Hoshiarpur Road. There were many students of my village studying in that school, so we always used to go on foot together and come back together. There were no dress restrictions, and fee too was in paisa, that is, 6 paisa to 4 annas, 1/4 of a rupee at that time. As I was doing well in school and there was no complaint, my parents too became very helpful to me and started to encourage me, even facing all their financial difficulties. I was in 6th class, and date of fee deposit was notified by the school. The fee was perhaps 2 annas, 1/8 of a rupee, but at home there was no money for the fee that day. I went to school. The teacher thundered, "Those who have not paid fee should stand on the bench." I too stood along with other defaulters, and we were all sent out of the classroom with the instructions to bring the fee to sit in the class. All others left for their homes. Where should I go? My father was not at home, and what can my mother do in his absence? So I sat on the parapet of a small bridge on the road. Tears of helplessness started to come out of my eyes, cursing my destiny. Nature is very merciful, which I never knew. A gentleman from my village known to my father was on his way to Hoshiarpur. When he reached near me and recognized me, he asked me, "Why are you sitting here leaving your school?" I replied, "Uncle Ji, I do not have a fee to deposit today, being last day, so they sent me out to bring fee first and then attend class." He asked, "How much is the fee?" I, with a choking voice, said, 2 annas. He put his hand in his pocket and gave me 2 annas, instructing, "Go deposit your fee and attend the class." was blessings in disguise for me. I continued my studies, facing all difficulties and struggles, and passed 8th class and joined 9th. One day when I came home, I found 2 gentlemen sitting with my grandfather. I touched their feet, since they were from the in-laws of my brother, and went inside to have something to eat from my mother. But my mother, without giving me anything to eat, broke most disturbing news to me. Chapter 2. Marriage Proposal and Education. My mother told me that these relatives have come with a proposal for your engagement followed by marriage, and they are waiting for your father. It was a great shock to me, and I felt as if my entire life was being put on fire. I started to weep bitterly and said, "I will die if you compel me for marriage." My father came and started to console me. But though I had never dared to argue with my parents ever, now in this situation I said, "My both elder brothers are married. What have they done for you? What burden of the family they have shared except doing some labor and caring only for their own families? I do not want to be a laborer. I want to study to live a better and respectful life." Both those guests, along with my grandfather, also joined us. My grandfather said to me, "Beta, I want to see you married before I die. We are ready to accept all your conditions after formal marriage. Other formalities shall be done as and when you would say yes. You can study as much as you like, and we shall not compel you even for once to visit your in-laws, nor they shall visit you." Now this is a question of respect of these relatives. After much cajoling for an hour by all members of my family, my marriage was fixed for 20th June 1954. Early morning, I was given new clothes, which were put on me with a festoon tied on my turban, and was seated on a bullock cart while ladies sang songs of the departure of Bharat, part of the wedding ceremony. By evening, we reached the village of my would-be wife. They had laid cots for us covered with white bedding. The night was over. In the early morning, the marriage ceremony was solemnized by a priest, and we were asked to have rounds around the fire. Then the marriage ceremony was over. During all these ceremonies, neither I saw my wife, nor probably did she saw me, as ghungat, covering veil, was prevalent at that time. Neither she knew my name, nor I knew her name at that time. Marriage was over, with her departure back to her home. I devoted myself to studies, and told my parents not to disturb me until I complete my studies. Though I tried to forget the future impact of my marriage, but it did affect my concentration, and I passed matric in 1955, only 3rd division. My headmaster, Sri Ramlok Bali ji, called me in his office and advised me to join college for further study to get a better job. He was very kind and a good guide to his students. I came home and put the proposal to my parents as advised by my headmaster. My father, though happy that I had passed matriculation, felt helpless to help me to join college. He wished that I should try to get some job and settle in life. After some time he said, "How can I support you? You can't go to Hoshiarpur college on foot, and from where will I purchase a cycle for you and pay for books and clothing and fee?" Without showing any reaction to my father and mother, I went inside and started to weep, to curse my destiny for such a helpless life of poverty. At that very moment, a miracle happened. My primary school teacher, Sri Pyara Singh, came, who had admitted me in his school, and inquired from father about my result of matriculation and inquired about me. Editor's note: among some Hindu women, it is the practice of women veiling their heads or faces with the end of a sari or a dupatta. My father thanked the teacher for his good wishes and blessings for my passing matriculation. Masterji asked, "Where is he?" My father said he is inside and weeping and wants to join some college in Hoshiarpur city for further study. He continued, "Now, Masterji, tell me how I can send him to college. From where shall I pay his fee, get books for him, and a cycle to go to Hoshiarpur?" The great teacher asked, "Call him out." At the call of my father, I came out and touched the feet of my teacher. He put his hand on my head and said, "You must join college. You come along, and have my cycle for your future life to join college. His advice to my parents and offer of his own cycle for me to join college convinced my father. Later, my father accompanied me to Sanatan Dharma College, Hoshiarpur, to get me admitted. The office superintendent of the college assured my father that you simply pay the admission fee and college dues now, which were very nominal, and said, "Your son shall get a scholarship from the government to continue his studies even up to MA. So we shall get fee out of that amount as and when received." So my father felt relieved of any financial burden. I devoted myself to my studies even while doing all household jobs, including looking after the buffaloes and helping my mother. My father constructed a kacha room for buffaloes in winter on one side of the main house. I divided it into two parts, with a curtain in between, and occupied the second half for my study at night, under the light of an earthen pot, known as diya, an oil lamp. During vacations, I made an arrangement of study in a dilapidated Gurudwara-type building, about 50 meters walking distance away from the residence, to avoid the noise of children of two families with a common courtyard. I passed 1 year of FA, Faculties of Arts, from Punjab University in 1956, and joined for second year. By this time, I had developed a good rapport with all teachers and principal, Sri K. Kapoor, who was very helpful to all students. By this time, I had developed a good rapport with all teachers and principal, Sri K. Kapoor, who was very helpful to all students. As I joined the second year, Sri Daulat Ram, whose sister was married in our village, happened to visit my parents, and he inquired about my studies. As I told that I am studying in SD College Hoshiarpur and that I am in second year, he inquired, "How do you go to college?" I said, "On cycle." He expressed surprise and said, "It is very tiresome to go attend the classes and come back in the evening. There is a great wastage of time," and said, "I have 2 rooms vacant on the first floor of my shop. You shift there, you need not pay anything, not even electricity charges. You give your cycle to your elder brother, who can supply your food for morning and evening." My brother agreed, and my parents too felt very happy with the proposal. I shifted to Hoshiarpur. It was blessings for me to get more time to study and participate in the extracurricular activities of the college, like dramas, debates, and declamation contests, and to come very close to my favorite teacher, like Professor Jaydayal Sahib Ji of English, Professor Murarilal Ji of Hindi, and Professor Talwar Sahib Ji of History. The purpose of naming those teachers is that they played a very important role in my life. I am indebted to them for the whole of my life. This very year, my father got a contract of baling and loading of hill grass in a company of Jagadhari paper mill with its depot at Hoshiarpur. So my father also, along with other labourers, started to live in the depot situated on the Hoshiarpur Pagwara road leading to my village. My elder brother joined the Indian Army as a Sipahi. He was the main supplier of foodstuffs to me daily in the morning. My eldest brother was not able to cycle daily for me. Annual exams were approaching. My mother was worried, though my father used to send one of his labourers to me with food for me daily. One day it so happened that my mother, feeling very worried about me, cooked food at night and left for Hoshiarpur at about 12 midnight along with my younger sister. Days were better than nowadays. Now ladies do not move out after sunset. My mother and sister, covering a distance of about 10 miles on foot, reached my father at about 3 a.m. My father was stunned to see them, and even expressed anguish for taking such a risk at night. But my mother assured him, God was with us, and we did not face any fear whatsoever. She with my sister reached my room at 6:30 a.m. It was a shock to me to see them so early with food for me. Tears rolled down my cheeks. My mother embraced me and consoled, saying, "You have your paper today. Nobody was there to bring eatables for you." I could not sleep. So we decided to come with your food before you leave for college. Such was my mother, whom in the later period of her life I served from the core of my heart. Thereafter, being free from exam, I decided to leave that room and started to live at home and attend college with the same old cycle so that my parents should not worry about me anymore. I passed FA in 1957 and joined third year for BA degree in the same college. At home, I arranged my routine in such a way that I could share some household responsibilities with my mother in the absence of my father. At night, I would study with the earthen lamp of mustard oil, and during vacation, I would study in that dilapidated Gurudwara building during vacation and all Sundays. During those days, there were no mills. The mother had to grind flour every day. There was no LPG gas. Everything was cooked on firewood in earthen pots, as no steel utensils had yet come in the market, and sugar-cane jaggery was the main source of sweets. As such, ladies were always busy in the household. In spite of all this, my mother, even after taking care of my younger brother and 3 sisters, took every possible effort to take care of my studies. Once, I needed some important book in my final year of BA, and she was short of money, as my father did not get his commission for some days. So my mother sold her silver jewelry for my books. I never compelled my parents for any special clothing or footwear, because there were no dictums in this college and most students were from rural areas. So I passed my BA in 1959. But future appeared dark to me. How to pursue further study in the absence of sufficient money, clothing, and books too? In spite of all help assured by SD College principal, I could not join the MA class for want of money that year. So I joined as a teacher in a middle school for ₹50 per month and also started to apply for a job wherever possible as per the desire of my father. I did not share ₹50 with my mother with a confidential agreement that I would save it and join MA next year. She was happy to support me. I applied for an advertised position in the All India radio station Jalandhar and also applied in the Deputy Accountant General Office, Kapurthala. I appeared for the interview at both places. I received no response from Jalandhar, but received a registered letter of appointment as Upper Division Clerk from a DAG, Deputy Accountant General at Kapurthala City. All were very happy that one member shall be in a government job and our living conditions will improve. But I, in the heart of hearts, was not, since I was planning to join MA and not to join as a clerk. I went to my father and told him that I would not live the life of a clerk. I pleaded with my father, "Simply give me food morning and evening, and I shall never ask you for any other thing. I want to do MA. My father too agreed, saying, "Beta, when have I asked you to go and join Kapurthala post as a clerk? You join MA class. I shall support you by all means." I felt overjoyed. Came home. I had some savings. Got admission in MA History, which was my favorite subject in the SD College in the session 1960 AD. Ever since I got the blessings of Satguru Param Dayal Baba Faqir Ji Maharaj, the situation had started to move in my favor, as the winds of sea helped the sailors to move. Further, people known and unknown came to help me, as and when I needed any help. Sri Savant Singh, manager of Khadi Board Sales Office, when he learned that I have joined MA class, he advised me to shift to his rented house in the ground floor, which was available on the first floor. They were relations from my mother's side, just like a maternal uncle. So, I shifted to their residence in Basti Khawaju, not far off from my college. From there it was very easy for me to have meals in the morning and evening at the depot of my father, which was just across the railway line. The atmosphere of Government College Hoshiarpur was very congenial. For students from my college and DAV College for MA classes in all subjects were held in the Government College as per university setup. All MA classes were held in the quadrangle building separate from the main college building. I took the best advantage of the facilities available and passed MA Part 1 with good second class. After the exam, I again shifted back to my home, thanking Sardar Sawan Singh Ji and his wife. Chapter 3. final marriage ceremony, and MA final. As I came home after appearing in my exam, my father-in-law, who perhaps was keeping a track of my studies, approached my father with a fear in his mind that I may say no to the final ceremony to bring my wife to my home. My grandfather, Sri Babu Ram, was alive, and he had a great hold on the families of his sons. He sent for me and advised me in the presence of my parents and father-in-law to abide by them. I pleaded for 1 year more for the final exam, but they expressed the fear of my in-laws and suggested that you complete the ceremony and your wife shall go back home and come to stay only when you complete your studies of MA. So, as per the advice of elders to allay the fear of my father-in-law, the ceremony was completed in a very simple way. My wife, whom I saw for the first time, stayed with us for a week. Her father came as per promise and took her back to stay with them until I completed my studies. However, I did visit her on social functions in their home and also kept in touch through letters in Punjabi for 1 year so that she may not feel neglected. Ever since I took refuge in the feet of His Holiness Param Dayal Baba Faqir Ji Maharaj in 1956, things always moved in my favor, as I said earlier. My younger brother, Sarwan, had started to share household responsibilities, and my 3 younger sisters too had started to share the burden of my mother. I felt free to devote my time to study. So I rented 1 room on the first floor in the railway mandi adjacent to the northern gate at the rate of ₹12 per month rent. This was very near to the college. As for diet, my father, whose depot was on the other side of the railway line, arranged meals for me through his labourer. In college, 2 professors were very kind to me, Professor Sidhu Sahib from Patiala and Professor Malhotra Sahib from Chandigarh. They managed to shift the library section of history books to the Department of History and made me the in-charge. They handed over the keys of the section to me to take care. It was not less than a great blessing for me. The chowkidar of the main gate was known to me. So in the evening, I would go to the section and prepare notes and write the topics of seminars given to us up to 9 p.m. As a result, my papers were appreciated by the 2 professors, and they even encouraged me to prepare for IAS and IPS exams of Union Public Commission, Delhi. During summer, the room on the first floor used to get very hot, and it was not possible to study in the room. So, during vacation and after college times, I would move out with my books and 1 towel to sit at a very shady place on a well near the railway line. I would come back only in the evening, on occasion, after having my dinner at my father's place, so the year passed without any problem. After the final exam, I came home to wait for the result. Chapter 4. Search for a job and securing a government position. In order to find some suitable job, I daily would go to Hoshiarpur to see the advertisements in the newspapers. One day my school headmaster, Sri Ram Lok Bali Ji, coming from Hoshiarpur to school, stopped me and asked, "Where do you go daily, boy?" I replied, "Sir, I go to District Library Hoshiarpur to see newspaper for advertisement." He said, "Come on, I appoint you as a teacher in my school for ₹80 per month, and you shall have a newspaper as well." I was very happy, so I joined my old school. As I joined the school, my parents started to persuade me to bring my wife, as her father had visited my father many a time. So I brought her without any additional formalities. But my mission to further myself was always dominating my mind. It was not a life with any satisfaction. In school, on my arrival, students would say loudly, "Master Ji has come, Master Ji has come." I thought, is this my achievement in life? One day I talked to my parents and wife that I will not do this job. My father said, "We never compelled you, beta." So the next day I left for Chandigarh on my old cycle and reached there by evening. There was an old friend of mine with whom I stayed for a week and made efforts to get some post anywhere possible. With efforts and blessings of my Satguru, I got a job as publicity officer in the Department of State Agricultural Marketing Board at Patiala in 1963, as some high-up was known to me in this department. It was temporary post, so I had to leave it after 1 year. However, the same year my wife gave birth to a baby girl, but she died in 1964. As I left this job, my professor, Sri Talwar Sahib of SD College Hoshiarpur, by this time had joined Punjab Archives Patiala. I had met him many times at Patiala, and when he learnt about my job, he directed me to join his department in the research section on fixed pay of 210 rupees per month in 1964. I worked here for about 1.5 years as a compiler and then as an assistant, and my wife remained with my parents, except for some few months. One day, my colleague Sardar Punjab Singh brought the Tribune newspaper and said, "Kamal, there is an advertisement by Punjab Public Commission for the selection of 5 lecturers in college cadre in the subject of history. You apply. I am sure you shall be selected." I said, "You should also apply." He said, "I shall not be selected, nor I am interested." He was so kind that next day he brought the application form, helped me to fill it out, and deposited the application himself in the office of Punjab Public Service Commission in Patiala itself. Before I received the call for an interview, he left the department and never met again, in spite of my best efforts to thank him. I received the interview call in October 1965. There were more than 50 candidates. We sat in the reception room, where every candidate was discussing the chance of selection with each other. The interview started. Heart of everyone was throbbing. Candidates started to come out and depart without meeting any one of us. Every candidate spent about 20 to 25 minutes in the interview. So my turn came. Entered the hall after getting formal permission from the board of 7 members who were sitting in a round circle. They directed me to sit and confirmed my name and started to question me turn by turn. By the blessings of Satguru Param Dayal Baba Faqir Ji Maharaj, I answered every member with confidence. My interview lasted for 45 minutes, and the head of the board said, "Thank you. You can go." I bowed my head to all the members as a sign of regard for them and came out, with raising hands to the Satguru for my selection for this post, which I liked very much. In the first week of November 1965, I received a letter from home that I had been blessed with a son, and on 18th of November, an auspicious day of birth of His Holiness Babaji Maharaj. I then received a registered letter of my selection and appointment in Government College Narnaul, now in Haryana, with a direction to join within 15 days. All the members of the archives were also happy, especially Professor Talwar Sahib and Sri Nitchar Sahib, who was Director of Archives. They arranged farewell for me, and I also entertained them. I was relieved, and I packed to join at Government College Narnaul at the earliest. I left for Narnaul by the first bus, which left at 4 a.m. on 23rd of November, and reached Narnaul at 7 p.m. The conductor of the bus was very kind. When he came to know why I was going to visit Narnaul, he arranged for my night stay in their own room, saying, "Since we have to leave at 4 a.m., we sleep in the bus itself, so you can stay here for the night." He directed the chowkidar to take care of me regarding food, etc. The chowkidar took special care of me even for my bath in the morning. I pray for chowkidar and the conductor for their help at the unknown place to an unknown person. Joining the Government Job College cadre. On the 24th morning, I got up early, took my bath, had a cup of tea, and left for college, leaving my briefcase with the chowkidar. The college was not far from the bus stand, and I reported to the principal, Sardar Bhagat Singh Ji. Sri Harbhajan Singh was teaching there on a temporary basis. It must have been a shock to him, but he was not unhappy with me at all. I joined, and he was relieved of his duty. He was so kind that after introducing me to the students, he took me along with him and collected my briefcase from the chowkidar, and we reached his room. He kept me for the night with him. Next day, after breakfast, He helped me to find good accommodation for me at a different locality, for which I paid the rent of rupees 30 per month. When, during an informal talk, I told him that I am blessed with a son, he told me that his wife too is in the family way. I had a pinch of sorrow, and wondered how his wife would react about his termination from his temporary job at that time. However, it is a law to bear. After a few days, I took leave before winter break, rushed to Patiala, and brought my entire household to the new place the next day. I cooked my food myself and acquainted myself with the surrounding. Winter break and family brought to Narnaul. This was winter break in the college from 25th of December 1965 to 12th of January 1966. So I left for our village the next day. My whole family was happy to see as our son was born, and I got a government job. Since Narnaul was very far off, it was decided that my wife should accompany me, though the child was hardly 1.5 months old. So I left with my wife and child on 9th January 1966 early morning, and reached Samana city, where my cousin Seva Kaur, daughter of our maternal uncle, was living, and her husband was manager of Khadi Board Depot. We stayed there for 1 day, and left for Narnaul on 11th January, in the same bus from Patiala to Narnaul. We reached Narnaul in the evening, hired a tanga, and reached home at about 7:30 in the evening. Since we were tired, we had our packed dinner prepared by my cousin and slept. On the 12th, early morning, I switched on a very old radio set and tuned it to Jalandhar radio station. There was sad news being relayed time and again about the death of Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri, Prime Minister of India, in Moscow, where he had gone for an agreement with Pakistan after the Indo-Pak War of 1965. Chapter 5. Shifted to other residence. This house had a common courtyard. The owner had a large family and a good number of cattle. So there was always great noise, and the owner had a very bad mouth, constantly cursing at his wife and children when at home. My wife felt very much disturbed. My son got infected with whooping cough. We both were ignorant about rearing a newborn. I thought this problem must be due to this atmosphere. So I requested my colleague, Dr. Darshan Singh, to find some residence for us. With good luck, we got an independent place close to the residence of Dr. Darshan Singh, and at once we shifted from that place to the good and educated locality. In spite of all efforts for the treatment of my son, the cough was so severe that the child was unable to sleep at night even for 1 hour. Dr. Darshan Singh had a very nice family, 2 sons and 1 daughter. His wife was very nice and helpful. She came and took my wife and child to civil hospital. The attending doctor checked the child and gave him 1 injection, and our child got relieved of the cough. Next day, 1 more injection, and he got fully cured. Life became smooth and well settled. My pay was rupees 325 per month. Rupees 50 I used to send to my mother, rupees 30 as rent, so we had sufficient money. Things were very cheap. Fuel wood cost was 1 full laden box for rupees 6. Desi ghee was rupees 6 per kilo. Milk was 8 annas per litre. Vegetables were very cheap, as were carrots. Tomatoes and cauliflower were about 4 annas per kg. So was life at a natural balance. In college, too, whatever duty was assigned to me by the principal, I performed it with full dedication. College had no boundary wall, for which I appealed to a brick kiln owner for help, who at once gave rupees 1,000 and assured other material as well. So a boundary wall with a gate to the college was constructed, and all stray cattle stopped to enter the college campus. Dr. Bhagat Singh was very happy with me for this work. I hope the same wall must be there even now. Here I qualified for IAS and received a call for an interview. I shall write in detail later on in this regard. Chapter 6. Bifurcation of Punjab and my postings. The Akali movement for a separate Punjabi state was at peak under Sant Fateh Singh. So on 1st November 1966, Punjab was divided with Haryana as a new state, and many parts of Punjab were handed over to Himachal. I need not go in detail about these politics. The employees too were shared, and, as good luck would have it, I was allotted to Himachal Pradesh and transferred to Government College Dharamshala. As the winter break of 1966 came, I decided to leave my family at home, so that later on it shall be easier to move with the household for such a long distance. Transfer and allocation order came in July 1967. I got relieved and carried my family and belongings on a bus to Patiala and then to Hoshiarpur. Since vacation time, I kept all the family at the depot of my father and joined Government College at Dharamshala, where I arranged for a house. Later, with the help of my younger brother, we shifted the entire household to Dharamshala during the vacation itself. Since my mission of writing is primarily about my life spent in the hallowed feet of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj Ji, hereunder I write in brief my service in government colleges from 1967 to 1996 at different colleges along with my family. 1. Government College, Dharamshala from 1967 to 1970. 2. Government College, Rampur, Bushehr from 1970 to 1971. 3. Government College, Bilaspur from 1971 to 1976. 4. Government College, Hamirpur from 1976 to 1988. 5. Government College, Una, 1988 to 1996, from where I retired on 31st January 1996 and settled here at Una as per the will of nature, or say, as per the circumstances created by nature itself for me. 6. Gujjar College, Bitam. There was no college in this backward hilly area of New Himachal. Sant Baba Dhanguwala of Gujjar community decided to establish a co-educational college in his village and appointed me after retirement as founder principal of this college during 1997. I worked for this college day and night, constituted a trust, with Babaji as president. New buildings were constructed, staff appointed, students enrolled, and we got the college affiliated with HP University. The college was inaugurated by Chief Minister Sri Veer Bahadur Singh Ji, who sanctioned a grant of Rs 10 lakhs for the college. I worked as founder principal up to 2003 and left after completing all formalities for the government to take over this college. Now this college is a government college in this backward area of Una district. Chapter 7. Early Yearning for Truth and Introduction to Radha Swami Faith. The newly constructed house by my parents was situated on a village road to the cremation ground, which was not far off from our house. I had joined my first primary class here. One day, to my surprise, I saw 4 men carrying a dead lady, followed by a large number of men and wailing and weeping women. I saw with my innocent eyes the dead lady being placed on the wooden pyre, and one man, after performing some ceremonies, going around the pyre with a pitcher of water, pouring on the ground. After one round, he broke the pitcher on the head side of the dead body and lit the pyre, so the dead body was in flames. After a few minutes, all the people returned back after washing their hands and faces. This was all the end of life. This scene at cremation's ground, that I saw very closely, had an indelible impression on my mind. In the morning, I put question after question to my mother. Why the woman died? Where has she gone now? Is everyone to die like her? Shall I also die one day? My mother became in a pensive mood and tried to pacify me, saying, No, beta, you will not die. She was very old. I interrupted. Shall I not become old? My mother was nonplussed and tried her best to put me on another track, but failed, and engaged herself in household work. Night approached. All had dinner. Lamps were put off. Father was not at home. I had my bed on a small cot. The moment the lamp was off, the entire scene of the burning pyre started to haunt me. I cried and started to weep loudly. My mother rushed to me and asked, What happened to you? Do you have pain? Do you have a headache?" I, while weeping, asked my mother, "Why do people die? If I too am to die, why am I born? For what reason do we take birth and die?" My mother consoled me, saying, "I do not have an answer to your questions. I am not educated. These answers can be had from a guru." I asked, "Mother, where is Guru?" She assured me that one day you shall have a guru. So I slept. My father knew Punjabi. One day he started to read a book loudly, and I listened to every word very keenly. The book was known as Zindagi Bilas, a life history of 100 years of man. This book contains a wonderful depiction of human life, indulging in worldly pursuits and sufferings, but ignoring the spiritual aspect of life, which is the only way of enjoying human life of 100 years, and lastly gaining liberation from the cycle of life and death. This book too had its impact upon my mind. My maternal grandmother, Nani, was a follower of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. She came one day and stayed with us for one night. She always kept one sacred small book, Japji Sahib, with her. As per my habit, I used to go out in the morning to attend nature's call and have my bath. As I came back, my Nani called me and said to me to read that small sacred book written by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as I could read and write Punjabi at that time. I read it in a devoted posture, covering my head as directed by Nani Ji. This sacred small booklet gave me the new light and hope, and my Nani Ji advised me to go to Gurudwara of the village as and when possible. The reading of this small sacred scripture by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji ignited a fire within me to know Akal Purush under the guidance of a Guru. I started to burn incense after taking bath every morning and doing Simran of the word Ram with my closed eyes for some time, and then leave for my school. It became my routine. I passed my 4th primary and joined LSD High School situated on the Phagwara Hoshiarpur road, about 6 miles from our houses. Here a large number of boys were studying. With the word of Ram, I added the names of Sita, Lakshman and Hanuman too, as they were his companions, thinking that they may not feel annoyed with me. On Sunday, I started to keep silent and fast too, to please God, and make the dilapidated building of a religious place in the cremation ground my study place, because there used to be great noise and disturbance at home due to the common courtyard. When I was in my 8th class, I told my mother that I shall not take any food except a glass of milk to atone for past deeds. My mother took it very lightly, but when I did not take any food for a week, since there was a vacation in the school, she went to the Gurudwara to request the saint there to come and advise me to take food. The Sant Sri Karam Chand Ji, wearing the garbs of a sannyasi, came in the evening. I touched his feet. He sat by my side and said, "By such penances, nobody can reach Akal Purush." I am unable to reproduce in English the actual words he spoke to me. With his blessings, I started to take food, and my mother felt relieved and later told my father. From then on, every Sunday, I started to visit Gurudwara and sat with the Sant to listen to his words of wisdom. His company convinced me that the real truth of life cannot be realized without a Guru. Since he himself did not initiate any person except reading the holy Sri Guru Granth Sahib for those who visited the Gurudwara morning and evening, my visit to him made me stable and devoted myself to studies as per his advice. I passed my matric in 1955, and as per the advice of my headmaster and help of my primary teacher, Sri Pyara Singh Ji, with his cycle, I joined ST College Hoshiarpur in spite of unfavourable circumstances at home. The college was situated in the grain market in the part of a building of ST school, since it was not a very old college. The number of students was not very large. The office staff, teachers and principal, Sri S.K. Kapoor, were very kind. There were no particular instructions for the dress. All aid from the government was available to the college and scholarship for the students of poor families. So, I got the scholarship and parents were relieved from any financial burden from my college study. After becoming familiar with the college, I started to take part in all the extracurricular activities like drama, debate, at declamation contests. As such, I became one of the favorite students of Professor Sri Jayadayalji of English, Professor Murarilalji of Hindi, and Professor Talwar Sahib of History. At home, after returning from college, I would help my mother too, as my father had got a contract with the depot of Jagadhari paper mills at Hoshiarpur for baling and loading of mountain grass with a team of labourers. I passed first year of Faculty of Arts from Punjab University in 1956 and joined the second year. In my opinion, nobody knows about what is in store for him or her in future. But I am fully convinced to say that nature is very merciful to us. One day, Sri Daulat Ram, whose sister was married in our village, came to meet my parents. During conversation in general, he inquired about me as well. My father told him that he is a student of ST College Hoshiarpur. As he learnt this news, he asked my father if he could see me. So my younger brother called for me as I was busy with my studies. I came, and he patted me and asked, "How do you go to college from such a long distance? Is it not difficult to study after cycling such a long distance?" He had a shop in Hoshiarpur and dealt with the business of supplying ready-made shoes. He said, "I have 2 rooms vacant on the first floor of my shop. It is very near to your college. Why don't you shift there?" It was a very good suggestion, but the question was where I would get my food. On this proposal, my brother assured that he would supply me food on my cycle daily in the morning. My parents approved the plan, and I packed and moved to that very convenient place. I adjusted my routine in such a way that I would get up early, go out for a walk, attend nature's call, come back, and have my bath on the hand pump in the compound, with a bucket, even very early before the sunrise. My brother would reach with my food by 7 or 7:30 a.m. After taking my food, I would leave for college even before the opening of shops and return afternoon. There was a common staircase to my side on the right and to a hall on the left. One Sunday when I was there, I saw some ladies and men coming up that hall. After some time, I heard that someone was singing hymns of Gurbani, so I thought there must be some spiritual function. Without having a second thought, I also entered the hall. On enquiry, I learned that it was a satsang, which I had never heard about. As the singer stopped to sing, an old man sitting on a platform started to speak about the spiritual aspects of human life. With this, the old question of childhood took rebirth and felt that this man shall be able to solve them here just now. After his sermons were over, certain instructions to the gathering were given, and they started to move. But I went to this gentleman, wished him namaskar, and pleaded, "Babaji, I have some questions. Would you please solve them for me, since they are dominating my mind since childhood?" The gentleman at once responded, saying that, "Beta, I am not authorized to answer any questions." Then I pleaded, "Who would answer?" He said, "Only a guru can answer any question." I again requested, "Where is such a Guruji available?" He said very sympathetically, "Guruji is available at Dera BS, where there is Satsang Ghar of Radha Swami." Now these 2 words were not known to me. After getting full information from him about where Dera BS was situated, I left for my village. At home, first of all, I inquired from my mother about Dera BS and Radha Swami, if ever she has learned anything about it. She expressed her ignorance. Perhaps many people were not at all aware of it at that time. Next day, I returned to my room after attending college. In the evening, as usual, Sri Daulat Ram came to know my well-being. Casually, I asked Sri Daulat Ram if he knew about Dera BS Radha Swami. He questioned me. "What for do you ask this question?" I said, "I want to visit that Dera and meet the Guruji to get answers to my questions from that Guruji." He said yes and explained that he himself was a follower of the Guruji. He explained, "The upcoming Sunday is Bhandara and Guruji is there. There shall be satsang. If you want to accompany me, you can. Be ready early in the morning to catch the train." So I found a ray of hope and waited for Sunday. As previously decided, Sri Daulat Ram came early in the morning and we left by train to Beas. From the base railway station we walked to the Dera, which was about 1.5 miles from the station. At the satsang ground a tent was erected, with a high stage on one side. Ladies and gentlemen were sitting very silently and listening to the Shabad being sung by a turbaned man on the stage. We also sat as near to the stage as possible. Sri Daulat Ram had told me the reverend name of Guruji was Hazur Maharaj Baba Charan Singh Ji. At the fixed time, Babaji, dressed in white with a white turban, with a white sheet over his shoulders, came, conveyed his blessings with folded hands to all those sitting under the shamiana. All those present also responded silently with folded hands. His appearance was very pleasing, and I felt that all my questions shall be answered when I get a chance to touch his holy feet. As per instructions from Guruji, the Pathi, reader, started to read Gurbani, and His Holiness explained it line by line. But nowhere did I find a word about human birth and death and purpose of life. I thought, I may get these answers in person. Satsang then was over. His Holiness sat on a chair. The entire Sangat made lines to get prasad, blessed food, and have close darshan of Guruji. I also stood in the line and pleaded to a man in front of me and a man behind me to allow me to have a personal talk with Guruji. But both directed me to move forward. When I reached near the distributors of prasad, I pleaded to them to see if I could ask a personal question. His Holiness was observing all this, but none of the Sevadars accepted my request. I was pushed forward. All my hopes of meeting Guruji were dashed. I followed the people in my front and reached Langar Hall. I was too hungry, as I had not taken anything in the morning. I ate 2 chapatis with dal and left, feeling most disturbed and unhappy, saying, I had come with a hope, and I am returning without any hope. I did not even try to find Sri Daulat Ram, and alone I left by bus. When I reached my room, I wept bitterly, praying to God for a true Guru who would listen to me. Sri Daulat Ram came in the evening. He was worried about me and said, Beta, I made a great search there for you. I was very much worried. Thus I have directly come to you instead of going home. Why did you come along without telling me? I said, Daulat Ramji, I had gone with very high hopes that I would sit at the holy feet of a Guru, get answers to my lifelong questions and blessings. But unfortunately I returned heartbroken. Sri Daulat Ramji consoled me, put his hand on my shoulders and said, Your thirst is very great, and it can be quenched only by one Babaji. I then questioned, Where is he, and when shall I be able to meet him? He gives satsang in the grain market at the residence of Master Mohanlalji. He has no dera, and only gives one satsang every month on the first Sunday of every Indian month. Unfortunately, the coming Sunday is the day of the satsang. I pleaded, Please lead me to that place, and I shall be thankful to you for life. He assured me that he would accompany me, and asked me to be ready by 7 a.m., as we would have to be there before 8 a.m. for satsang. Chapter 8. The great day of my life, being in the presence at the holy feet of Baba Faqir Chand ji. I don't remember the date and month of this great event of my life, but its impact on me I shall never forget. Sri Daulat Ram came over to my house at 7:30 a.m. I was already waiting very anxiously for him. So we left on foot for that place of satsang, crossing lanes after lanes. We reached the last lane with a left turn to the place of satsang. As I took a turn, Sri Daulat Ram was behind me. Babaji, sitting on a wooden stage, just looked straight towards me. I felt as if a flash of current had entered my body. All thought disappeared from my mind. I directly went to Babaji, put my head on his holy feet, and remained there at his holy feet for some time. Babaji put his right hand on my head. I raised my head. With his shining eyes looking into my thirsty eyes, he handed over an ear-marked book to me and said, Beta, read this shabd. The book was Sarbachan, written by His Holiness Swamiji Maharaj, which I had never seen or read earlier. The shabd was, Guru mohe apna roop dikhao. Guru, show me thy form. I realized that His Holiness Babaji Maharaj knew my questions, and perhaps he was waiting for me to start the satsang. In his sublime presence, I sang every line of shabd emotionally charged, and His Holiness explained every word very minutely, dispelling all my questions and doubts. Now I presume that His Holiness Hazur Rai Bahadur Saligram Ji Maharaj might have written this shabd to his Satguru Swami Ji Guru Maharaj. The entire satsang of the day was for me, and I surrendered that very day to His Holiness Babaji as my Guru, my guide of life, my benefactor, and all that without any introduction. In the heart of heart, I accepted His Holiness Babaji as my Satguru, surrendering myself to His Holiness forever. A new fire ignited in my heart to visit for the Sunday of monthly satsang at the residence of Master Mohanlalji. On that Sunday I would not go home, but to the place of satsang well in time. Sri Gopal Das Ji developed acquaintance with me. His Holiness Babaji would arrive on time. After saying Radha Swami, he would start satsang and ask for a particular shabd of Hazur Data Dayal Ji or Sant Kabir Ji and of Hazur Swami Ji Maharaj. Sri Gopal Das Ji would help me to find out the required shabd, and I would sing it line by line as required by His Holiness. This process continued throughout the year of my stay in Hoshiarpur without any break. Every satsang of His Holiness used to be laden with new experiences of life, both worldly and otherworldly life. As the final exam was approaching, one day my mother, with my younger sister, came very early to my room with food for me. It was a shock for me that my mother took such a risk with my sister to travel during night just to feed me. As my elder brother had joined the army and my eldest brother was not available, I decided then and there that I would leave for home after the final exam. But even during my exam, I did not miss any satsang. The most surprising aspect of this is that neither His Holiness inquired about my residence or about what I do, nor I spoke any word to His Holiness about my family and my study in the college. After being free from the exam, I left that room with thanks to Sri Dalat Ramji and came home. I told my mother about the satsang and Babaji Maharaj. She was very happy and said, "You have found the Guru you are asking for." The routine of attending the satsang from the village continued without any break. Since I had a secluded place in the old neglected building of Gurudwara, I made maximum use of this seclusion for my studies away from family disturbance. I passed FA in 1957 and joined the same college for BA degree. During this period, my love for satsang, sitting in the holy feet of Babaji, and reading the holy scriptures developed much more. Even without formal initiation, I started to do Simran of the word Radha Swami and meditate on the holy form of Babaji Maharaj. Chapter 9. Initiation, and I became his disciple forever. I was a student of the BA final. Preparatory holidays were going on for the final exam. As usual, I was preparing for the exam in that very secluded place. After feeling a little tired, I closed my eyes. Within a blink of an eye, a desire ushered within like a spring of water to rush to 18 Railway Mandi, Hoshiarpur, to touch the holy feet and have darshan of Babaji. I left my books there, came home, took my cycle, and pedalled to 18 Railway Mandi without bothering about the hot summer. The time must have been beyond 5 p.m. because I had no watch, and the sun was beginning to sink towards the horizon. I reached Railway Mandi, put my cycle on stand, and rang the call bell. Stood silently with folded hands. His Holiness himself came to open the door with hookah, an earthen pot that contains tobacco and fire, in his left hand. I bowed my head and touched the holy feet of Babaji, and stood silently with folded hands. His Holiness asked, "Beta, what have you come for at this time?" With tears in my eyes, I said, "Babaji, please excuse me. I could not resist, as I have come simply to have thy darshan." I was standing outside the threshold, and Babaji on the other side. A flood of compassion overflowed from him, and His Holiness raised his right hand, put his forefinger midst my eyebrows, and commanded, "Do Simran of Radha Swami Shabd, and meditate on Guru Sarup, form." I got what people are running for concerning initiation without any demand. I touched the holy feet of His Holiness, my Satguru-ji, and returned with a new energy. A gateway of new vistas of life was opened for me, which led me to such a life for which people struggle for lives without any success. During this very period, I had applied for a job in the All India Radio Jalandhar and in the office of Deputy Accountant General Kapurthala. I attended interviews at both places too. From Jalandhar I received no response, but from Kapurthala I received an appointment letter as Upper Division Clerk. After appearing in the final exam, I had joined a middle school as a teacher for 50 rupees per month. With a new appointment letter in hand, I went to my father and pleaded that I do not want to live a life as a clerk. I wanted to study further for a better life. I will not put any burden upon the family. My father was a great man. He put his hand on my shoulders and said, "Beta, when did I compel you to join as clerk? You joined college. I am all for you." But I could not seek admission in MA class during the 1959 session due to many factors concerning finances. I joined MA Part 1 in 1960 in SD College, with joint classes in Government College Hoshiarpur, in all 3 colleges. For 1 year, I stayed at the rented residence of Sardar Sarwan Singh Ji, a relative from the maternal side of my family. College was very near, and the depot of my father was just across the railway line. So there was no problem with my diet for me, and I devoted myself to study with a focused mission in life. The year passed on very smoothly. I appeared in the final exam and shifted back home. I passed Part 1 with a good second division and joined the second year in 1961 AD. During all these years, I was always regular to satsang to sing Bani of either Data Dayalji, Sant Kabirji, and of Swamiji, but never expressed my social difficulties and about my study to His Holiness Babaji Maharaj, believing that Babaji Maharaj is well aware of my life and my family. During the final year, which was very important for my future career, I rented one room on the first floor adjacent to the north gate of Railway Mandi. Rent was a nominal ₹12 per month. The residence of Babaji Maharaj was also very nearby, and the college too was very near via a shortcut. A shopkeeper, Sri Amar Chand, engaged me to teach his children for ₹25 per month. Professor Bhandari, who was my teacher in English for some time in SD College Hoshiarpur, also arranged one period daily in an academy for ₹12 per month. So financially I became self-supporting. In the college, my 2 teachers, Professor Sidhu Sahib and Professor Malhotra too, were very kind to me. In order to help their students to get better use of the library, they managed to shift the history section from the main library to the Department of History. Fine books of famous historians were procured, and I was made in charge of this section. It was a blessing for me. I would go there in the evening and prepare my notes, sometimes up to 9 p.m., and chowkidars too never objected to my presence. During daytime, as the room used to get very hot, I would, after college time, move out with a towel, notebook, and essential books to a shady place on a well by the side of the railway line. So I had a very busy schedule. Early morning, tutoring, then college, then academy, then study under the shady trees, and after evening, quiet study in the library. Sunday for satsang of His Holiness. I had a Petromax kerosene oil stove and some other provisions to prepare something to eat in case of an emergency. But generally, I had my diet with my father at his depot. Many times, I used to come across Babaji Maharaj. I would touch his holy feet and get his blessings. Once it happened that, when I came back from the site of my study, I saw His Holiness sitting on a cot covered with a white sheet. His Holiness was smoking a pipe in his hand and puffing. I reached His Holiness, bowed and touched his holy feet. I tried to spread my towel on the ground, to sit in front for some time to have his blessing. But His Holiness said, "No, beta, come here on cot with me." This was the first time since 1956 that I sat by his side. After a formal talk, His Holiness gave me an individual satsang on worldly and otherworldly life for about 1 hour. Ignorantly I said, "Babaji, this caste system has done great injustice with humanity." "Yes, beta, you are right," His Holiness said. "This all is done by so-called selfish pundits in the past. But the time is coming when this system will come to an end forever." There was much more conversation regarding spiritual life, the method of sadhan abhyas for self-realization, which I cannot share here. It was getting a little dark. Sri Gopal came and requested Babaji to move inside. I too wished Radha Swami to His Holiness and left for my room after touching the holy feet of Satguru Babaji Maharaj. Next day was Sunday, the day of satsang at Master Mohanji's house. I had reached there well in time. His Holiness Babaji Maharaj came and sat on the exalted platform of wood. I was sitting in front as usual, and did obeisance and sat again. Before speaking the sacred words of wisdom to the satsangis, Babaji Maharaj directed me to sit by his side on the exalted platform. I obeyed, and satsang started, while I was singing the desired shabd. A moment came when His Holiness took me in his arms, and embraced me and said loudly, "This Adharmi boy, the follower of primeval religion and devotee of Akal Purush, shall become a very great man one day in his life." I was all recharged in body, mind, and soul. I felt that these words of blessings of His Holiness reached to the highest horizon of this universe. This very blessing is leading me on the path of selfless service to the suffering and inflicted human beings. Satsang over, I came down and sat at the holy feet of Babaji, bowing and surrendering my life forever to this mission. Land of Manavta Mandir. On this very auspicious day, when satsangis in general left, the oldest followers of His Holiness, Seth Dargadas Ji of Chandigarh, Sri Lal Singh Ji and his brother Amar Singh of village Jawan, Sri Darshan Singh Ji of village Deriwal, Sri Narayan Das, Sri Mamchand Ji and Sri Baldev Chand, and Sri Hazari Lal Ji, both sons of Master Mohan Lal Ji, pleaded to Babaji Maharaj to establish some centre to preserve and spread his message of truth and self-realization to humanity. I too was present there when Babaji Maharaj said, "I have no money, nor would I beg from the public for this purpose." Seth Durgadas Ji offered 22,000 rupees, and all others also came forward, offering the necessary money for this noble cause. Immediately a search for a plot on any side started, and the present plot where Manavta Mandir now stands was selected. The owner wanted to sell the plot as a whole, and our amount was less. Then Narayan Das Ji offered to purchase the rest of the parcel, and on this portion is the residence of Abhay Kumar, now on the right side of the main gate. Till the construction of one satsang hall, a small room along with hall for His Holiness to have rest, satsang continued at the residence of Master Ji. The last satsang was held on 20th January 1963. I too had the privilege to attend till my final exam of MA was over, and I shifted back to home. But I continued to visit Hoshiarpur in order to see newspapers and the various job offerings. One day on my way to Hoshiarpur, the headmaster of my high school, as I referred earlier, appointed me a teacher in a school for rupees 80 per month, and also advised me to read newspapers there in the school. So, I became busy waiting for my result. Now my in-laws approached me to bring my wife, and my parents too stressed to maintain the social traditions. It was during the first half of 1963. The hall of Manavta Mandir was ready, and Mata Bhandaro had come to sing Shabd for satsang in my place. As my wife came, her father also accompanied her. I decided to visit Babaji Maharaj to have his blessings. It was Sunday. Satsang was perhaps over, and few satsangis were present. My father-in-law was also with us. We bowed, turn by turn, to the hallowed feet of Babaji, and then sat down. Babaji asked me, "Is she your wife?" With folded hands, I nodded my assent. Now His Holiness asked my father-in-law, "How much has Beti studied?" My father-in-law, too, with folded hands, replied, "Babaji, there is no school in the village nearby. She knows household work and sewing." Babaji thundered and said, "This boy shall have great rise and become a great man in his life. Will she be able to pull on with him?" I very humbly and with folded hands pleaded and said, "Babaji, with thy benign blessings I shall pull on." Babaji did not react to my humble submission. After bowing to His Holiness, we left. His Holiness said, "Jao beta, sukhi raho. Go beta and be happy." So we came home. After about 3 months with school teaching, I started to feel suffocated with a feeling within about the mission of my life. The result of my MA came, and I passed with second class. I left the school. So, with the blessings of Babaji Maharaj, one day I left for Chandigarh on my old cycle and stayed with my friend. After some days, I moved out to meet some known persons in the government. One gentleman told me that there are certain vacancies in the State Agricultural Marketing Board, Patiala, and, if you like, go there and appear for a personal interview. He gave me the number of the secretary, and also said that he would make a call to him. "You can go just now," he entreated me. Thanking him and my Satguru, I left my cycle with my friend and left for Patiala with a meagre amount of money, about 25 rupees only. Fortunately, fares were not as high as today. I reached the office just at about 5 p.m., but to my good luck, the secretary was waiting with his staff, perhaps due to a phone call from Chandigarh. I was selected for the post of publicity officer and was directed to have my medical at Nabha Civil Hospital. For the night I stayed with an old college fellow and left for Nabha early morning without bothering about money in my pocket. When the office opened, the concerned clerk asked me to deposit rupees 16 as a medical fee, which I deposited. I was left with only rupees 4. From this too I had to pay for a sputum test, urine test and blood test, since I was to join a big post. The tests were over, and I was given certifications. However, CMO left for lunch. I had no more money, so I had no eatables. I sat on a cemented bench under the shade of a tree to wait for the CMO. He came around 2:30 p.m., and after getting his permission, I entered his office. He congratulated me on the posting. What more transpired between us is not a subject of noting here. He handed over to me the medical certificate, and I came out of hospital expressing my thanks to the CMO. I had some sips of water at the public tap. Feeling hungry and worrying about how to reach Patiala, I felt apprehensive. Suddenly a flash came in my mind to travel by train, taking the risk of travelling without a ticket. So, I took the road to the railway station, thanking my Satguru for the new posting. Chapter 10. A Miracle. I had just taken the road to the railway station and might have covered about 200 meters when a handsome boy from behind came on cycle. He addressed me as uncle, saying, "Sit on my cycle. I am going to the railway station." I sat on the rear seat of his cycle. We reached the station. He put his cycle on the stand and led me to a tea shop and went away. After a few minutes, a cup of tea and a plateful of biscuits was put before me by the tea shop boy. I was surprised and told the boy, "I have not asked for tea or biscuits. Please take them away." He said, "No, Babaji has placed this order for you. Please take it." Hesitantly, being hungry, took tea and biscuits and felt a little fresher. In the meantime, the same gentle boy came back, put one railway ticket from Nabha to Patiala, and 8 anna coin in my pocket. I said, "Please, thank you. I do not need money. This ticket is sufficient for me. I will go on foot to my place at Patiala. If there is rain, you will have to take a rickshaw to reach home," he said. A word of thanks was still in my mouth, as he left and disappeared within a minute. When my train reached Patiala, there was heavy rain. No chance to walk on foot. I asked a rickshaw puller for Lehal colony. He said, "Normally we charge only 4 anna." But since there is rain, now I will charge Anna's 8. I hired him and reached home thanking my Satguru, coming in the form of a cycle boy to serve me tea with biscuits, purchasing a ticket for me to travel by train to Patiala, and also paying for rickshaw Anna's 8 in advance to reach my residence safe in rains, as he knew about the rain at Patiala in advance. I bow my head in reverence to that form of cycle boy. Next day, I joined the department. After getting first pay of few days, I rented a new residence in the same colony at a rent of rupees 30 per month. After some months, I received a letter from home that I am blessed with a baby girl. I was very happy and started to make a plan to visit home and see the new arrival in the family. Saturday and Sunday being holidays, I took leave for Monday and came home. At home, before going to my wife and baby, I went to my mother first to pay my respects and get blessings. As I touched the feet of my mother, she said, "You have a baby girl." My sisters came, they too used the same languages. I met my wife and saw the most blue-eyed girl in her lap I was happy to see. My in-laws too complained about the birth of a girl on the very first delivery. The baby was not welcomed by any member of the family. I felt that she will not survive for long. Next day being Sunday, I left for Hoshiarpur along with my wife and baby, first to seek blessings of father and then visit Manavta Mandir. My father too was not very happy with the girl. However, we reached Mandir. Satsang was over. His Holiness Babaji Maharaj was there in the hall. After paying obeisance in the holy feet, my wife put the baby in the lap of Babaji. He saw her and gave her the name of Nirmala, with the instruction to my wife to take care of her health. I did not talk about my postings at Patiala and about the miracle at Navha railway station, because I was fully convinced and my faith in him was firm that he is always with me. We came back, but a thought started to lurk in my mind that as none of my family members is happy with her birth, she will not survive for long. However, in the very beginning of 1964, I brought them with me to Patiala. We were happy. Back from office, seeing the smiling face of the baby was not less than a heaven on earth. The owners of the house were both teachers and very cordial to us. But after a month or so, abrupt changes took place in the office with a change of government in Punjab. A hard-headed man joined the office as secretary after his retirement as Director of Agriculture. First of all, he decided to shift the office to Chandigarh, which he managed, and we too had to leave Patiala to Chandigarh. I also rented one-room set in Sector 15A with office in Sector 17. The office being away, I purchased an Avon cycle for rupees 160 only. We were very happy in the new city with neat and clean atmosphere. After a few days, the secretary started to shunt the large number of employees who had not yet completed 1 year with an excuse that they are sinecure and a burden of finances on the board. My post was declared unnecessary, whereas I had submitted a blueprint of my planning of work. When I learnt it, I wrote a letter to my professor Sri Talwar Sahib in Patiala archives about my latest service condition. He wrote back immediately, "You will get a post. Come back to Patiala." I packed again for Patiala, got relieved, and reached the same house, which was still vacant. Joined Punjab Archives in the section of research papers regarding freedom fighters at rupees 210 per month. Now, since the pay was less, I left my wife and baby with my parents. During this very period, an advertisement appeared in the Tribune regarding 5 posts of lecturers college cadre, and my colleague Sri Punjab Singh brought the newspaper for me. Next day, he brought the application form from the Office of Public Service Commission, got it filled by me, and personally deposited it in the office of the Commission. At about this very time, the government ordered to wind up the research section, and I also received a sad letter that baby has expired. So, 2 shocks at a time. Professor Talwar sent a message for me upstairs to meet him immediately. I went down. After permission, I entered the room of Professor Nijjar Sahib. The curator and Professor Talwar were sitting there. They were very kind and said, "As soon as you are free from that section, Here is your appointment as assistant in this department you join. I took it all as a blessing in disguise of His Holiness Param Dayalji Maharaj. So I joined the new department, whereas all other employees were rendered jobless. 1965th year arrived. I received an interview letter from the commission. I do not remember the date, but my interview was in October 1965. There were about 50 candidates, everyone discussing the sure chance of his or her selection, but I, sitting on one side of the reception room, was praying for this post. The interview started at 10 a.m. Candidates as per call attended the interview and left. My turn came. I entered the hall after seeking permission. I was directed to sit. The board consisted of 7 members. After a formal introduction, every member asked me questions turn by turn. The expert from the Department of History put me maximum questions, which I, with his grace, responded with positive answers. My interview lasted for 45 minutes. Lastly, chairman said, "Thank you, boy." I bowed my head to all of them as a token of respect, came out, and directly went to the office. Happy news. In the first week of November 1965, I received a letter from home that I had been blessed with a son on 28th October. On 18th November, the auspicious day of the birthday of His Holiness Babaji Maharaj, I received a registered letter of my selection as lecturer college cadre and posting at Government College, Narnaul, now in Haryana. Professor Talwar Sahib and Sri Nijjar Sahib were very happy. They arranged farewell and relieved me of my duty, and blessed me to proceed to join the post at the earliest. Chapter 11. Help in Disguise. I left Patiala to Narnaul on 23rd November at 4 a.m. by the first bus. It was a very long journey, since the distance was about 20 kilometers to reach Narnaul at about 7 p.m. The young conductor of the bus came to me, sat by my side, and asked me, "Babuji, are you going to Narnaul?" He further said that I thought passengers have been coming and going, but you are still with us. He further asked me, "What for you are going to this far-off city from Patiala?" I replied, "I have got a post of lecturer in the government college, and I am to join there tomorrow." Now he inquired, "Do you have any person known to you there?" I said, "No, I am going there for the first time." He said with a very sympathetic tone, "Nothing to worry. We have a room in the bus stand to have rest at night, but we do not sleep therein, since we have to leave for Patiala at 4 a.m. Thus we sleep in the bus itself. We have a chowkidar as well. He shall look after you." By this time we reached Narnaul. He picked up my briefcase and led me to his room at the first floor. Chowkidar was already there, as he knew about the arrival of the bus. The conductor introduced me to the chowkidar and instructed him, saying, "Babuji is our guest. Take care of him. He is to join the college in the morning." So he left after giving instructions to the chowkidar. I, being tired, laid on the bed. A pitcher of water was there, and after a little rest I washed my mouth and felt fresh. So chowkidar came with covered dinner for me, which the great conductor must have paid for me. I had it to my fill. The chowkidar collected the plates and left, assuring me that he shall come early morning, arrange for my bath and breakfast. So he did all this next morning. I left for college, leaving my briefcase with him, as he assured that I can have it any time coming from college. Is it not a miracle done by my benefactor, Satguru, in the guise of a conductor and chowkidar, who never knew me at all, and we have never met before? I joined the college on 24th November 1965. Chapter 12. Passing IAS and an interview where I give my refusal to accept condition of a man. Ever since I had passed MA, I had a dream to pass IAS, and I was pursuing my studies for this. I devoted myself to this civil service examination to become an official in the government. Rented a good house, and during winter break brought my family to this place. Submitted application for the IAS exam. Received the roll number and place of center in Delhi with time and date sheet. Professor Vij, lecturer in math, came forward to help me with my stay in Delhi. He had his brother-in-law in Delhi, and his residence was very near to the examination centre. He wrote a letter to his brother-in-law to make my stay with him as comfortable as possible. Professor Vij received a letter in reply with a confirmation. I left for Delhi 2 days advance and reached his relative in the evening. He was very kind, arranged a separate room for me. Since he was alone and took special care about my breakfast and dinner, because he used to be at home, and it was not possible for me to reach back before 4 p.m. However, he gave me a duplicate key to come at any time and study. My attempt in all papers was more than satisfactory. So after exam, I thanked the gentleman from the core of my heart, and after reaching Narnaul, expressed my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Vij Sahib. In my absence, Professor Darshan Singh and his wife, who were close neighbours, took care of my family. In all this phase of my life, I found the grace of my Satguru-ji for guide and help at all places. Call for interview received. I left for Delhi 2 days before the interview. I stayed with an old friend from Hoshiarpur. On interview date, I reached Union Public Commission well in advance. Signboards were placed to direct the way for the candidates to reach the venue on time. On one side was a waiting and reception room with a notice of the list of candidates for the day. My name was at serial number 1. There were about 15 candidates, including one of my class fellows from my college days. We were very happy to meet each other. Just before the interview, a tall gentleman approached me and, calling me by name, asked me to come out of the room for a few minutes. He took me aside and asked me, "Do you want to get into IAS, civil service?" I responded, "Yes, sir. I have done my best to get into this cadre of the country." He said, "Sure, I can get you in without any problem." I questioned, "How, sir?" He responded very slowly, taking me into confidence. "You have to marry my daughter. Rest assured that I will make certain you get selected." I felt annoyed. I said, "No, sir, I cannot commit for this. I cannot do injustice to my wife and child." He again stressed, "What is there? You can easily throw them out. I shall help you if need be," he assured. I knew the result of leaving a married wife who had waited for my company for more than 8 years. I said, "No, sir, excuse me." I came back to the room and felt relaxed. I knew not who was he, whether a fraud or a conman. I later came to know that he had approached another candidate and made the same offer. That candidate eventually married his daughter after getting selected. I had absolutely no regrets. I was happy that I have peace in the form of my wife, family, and children. Chapter 13. After bifurcation of Punjab. On 1st November 1966, the government declared the creation of Haryana out of Punjab as a separate state, and also gave many parts of Punjab to Himachal Pradesh. These were known as Hindi-speaking areas. All employees of all ranks divided and allotted and posted at new places. I was allotted Himachal Pradesh and posted at Government College Dharamshala. As the division of Punjab was the prevailing topic at the time, I left my family at home well in advance. I was relieved in 1967, and I joined at Dharamshala during vacation time itself, taking it as his will. After a gap of more than 3 years, I came nearer to Hoshiarpur, from where it was not difficult for me to attend monthly satsangs, and even during my vacation period. I would leave Dharamshala on Saturday, just after my class, and reach Manavta Mandir, before the departure of His Holiness for 18 Railway Mandi residents. While leaving, His Holiness would direct Bhagat Ram Ji, secretary of this trust at that time, to make arrangement for my night stay in the newly constructed American set. His Holiness was so kind that he would even instruct Annadata Ji, who used to prepare food for satsangis, to take care of my food. Sri Annadata Ji was so nice a man that he would first spread a mat in the kitchen and then serve hot chapatis with delicious dal and vegetables, the taste of which I still remember. During Baisakhi satsang, I would come along with my family, stay in a room given to me, and join to serve any duty assigned to me. It may be a collection of annual membership fee against a receipt, or in langar to serve the satsangis. For me, it used to be heaven on earth for these 4 days. 2 years passed without any absence from monthly satsang. Mata Bhandaro was a singer with a melodious voice. During 1969, when I came to attend monthly satsang, His Holiness sent Gopal Das to call me in the room. After touching the holy feet of Babaji, he said, "Beta, I am coming to Pragpur for a few days. I also wish to visit you at Dharamshala. Last year, too, I had a plan to visit you and had also written a postcard. But you had left for home due to vacation. Now, if you can arrange some taxi to take us to Dharamshala, you can come. I shall be accompanied by Gopal Das, Bandaro Mata, Master Mohan Lal Ji, Hukam Singh, and Sri Mamchand. A date was given to me. I submitted that I shall come with a taxi on this day, and left for Dharamshala after getting blessings of my Satguruji. Chapter 14. Visit of His Holiness to Dharamshala, 1969. Reaching Dharamshala, I told my wife that Babaji Maharaj is coming to us. She was overjoyed. She made the necessary purchases needed for the kitchen. There was no taxi during those days, so I approached the Zilla Parishad office after learning about a jeep with their office. My good luck, the chairman agreed to lend the jeep on charges per mile. It had a capacity of about 8 seats plus driver. When we talked to our landlady that our Sadguruji is visiting on such and such date, she was very happy, being a very religious lady. Her name was Mayavati, and we always addressed her as Mataji. She vacated her 2 rooms along with washrooms. Thus, on the given date, I left for Pragpur early morning with the jeep. I offered my obeisance to Babaji, and the family of Sri Meghnad Sood served breakfast. Gopal Das collected the belongings and put them in the jeep. There were 2 ladies from Uttar Pradesh who, after visiting Manavta Mandir, had come to Pragpur to have darshan of Babaji. When we were just to leave, they too pleaded with Babaji Maharaj to accompany us to Dharamshala too. His Holiness was not happy to put an unnecessary burden upon me. We enquired if there is space in the jeep for them too. The driver agreed, and we left for Dharamshala after lunch. As we were approaching the town of Dera Gopipur, the lady sitting behind enquired from Gopal Das about the temple of Jwalaji. Gopal Das replied that it is nearby. They expressed a desire to visit the temple too. Babaji Maharaj did not want to add more mileage to the charges of jeep. However, I requested the driver to drive via Jwalaji. We reached Jwalaji, and the driver stopped the jeep on the road very near to the temple. All left for temple except me and His Holiness. There was a culvert on the road, so I dusted its parapet for His Holiness to sit, and I myself sat on the ground just in front. Babaji asked me to join him. I said with folded hands, "I am in thy refuge, and have no faith anywhere else." His Holiness lighted a cigarette, and after a puff said, "Beta, this is all gas, nothing else. The real light, pointing to my forehead, is here. All our scriptures refer to it as the Gayatri Mantra. But these people are ignorant, and do not undertake the inner path as shown by our scriptures." Babaji Maharaj also told me other aspects of inner abhyas. By the time they returned and we left for Dharamshala, we reached Dharamshala after about 5 p.m. My wife, in consultation with the landlady, had made all arrangements. I had 2 sons who were given names by Babaji Maharaj. The elder of about 4 years, Ram Vilas, and younger about 2 years as Divya Jyoti. After tea, all have had rest after a tiresome journey. Later we had a stroll in the evening on the road just in front of my residence known as Mall Road. For the night, my wife prepared dinner for all. There used to be no LPG gas. She had 2 kerosene stoves and 1 hard coal known as angiti. She was very expert in cooking and could serve 6 to 7 people at a time. Before dinner and after breakfast, there used to be satsang every day. All the neighbors used to attend the satsang. All the news about the presence of His Holiness at my place spread. More and more people came. Especially the retired officials with their families started to visit His Holiness. One night, as I sat for Abhyas doing Simran and Dhyan on the holy form of Babaji Maharaj, I entered an ocean of light within, losing all feelings of body and mind. But I could not stay in that state for more than a few seconds. In the morning I discussed it with Babaji, and he told it was the region of my soul. Next morning, Babaji expressed a desire to see the college. So, after a light breakfast, we left for college, except for two women. These two ladies left for Hoshiarpur and then to Uttar Pradesh. We all walked down to college, which was not far off. There are lawns on both sides of the college. The building of the main college was built during the British Raj. College was closed for summer vacations, so there was only Chowkidar, who brought a chair for His Holiness, and we all sat on the green grass. A cool breeze was refreshing us all. His Holiness gave us a satsang of very high stages. Sri Hukam Singh continued to note down every word spoken by His Holiness in his notebook, which he always carried with him. After about 1.5 hours, His Holiness desired to have a round of the college. He had a stroll in the college ground cum stadium, then saw every classroom with fire chimneys for winter season to keep the room warm. I presume that since Babaji Maharaj might not have visited any college, he took keen interest to know about the strength of students, number of teachers, and about the principal as well. I remember that we spent more than 3 hours and then came back home. His Holiness had some rest and then some lunch. After lunch we all relaxed for some time, whereas Babaji Maharaj had a nap for about 1 hour, which I understand His Holiness went into a deep ecstasy. I took care that at this time His Holiness should not be disturbed by any villagers. At about 4 in the afternoon, Babaji made a call to Sri Gopal Das to prepare the smoking pipe, hookah. Then we all sat in his room, and my wife served tea to all of us. Thereafter, people started to come with their worldly problems. His Holiness attended each and every one to their satisfaction. Thereafter, Bhandaro Mata came in with her books, and as per the command of Babaji, she sang shabds of Data Dayalji Maharaj and of Sant Kabirji Maharaj. His Holiness spoke on the principles of family life and how to lead it happily, by giving examples from his own family life without any ill will or jealousy against anyone. His second most important word of wisdom to the present people was about the procreation of children. His advice was, procreate a child with an intention of procreation, and advice to the ladies was to entertain positive, noble and pure thoughts during the period of pregnancy. Generally, His Holiness gave the example of Abhimanyu, son of Arjun of Mahabharata, who learnt the art of entering the Chakravyuha, impenetrable defensive military formation of the army of Kaurav, when he was in the womb of his mother, and Arjun narrated the art of entering such a formation to his wife, but when he was telling about the art or method of coming out, she slept, and Abhimanyu failed to know it. His Holiness was still speaking when Gopi Ram, father of Sri Faqir Chand and Jagwanti, came with a request to visit his village the next day. Satsang was stopped, and the visit to Kaniara was finalized, that he would arrange some jeep to go to his village and come back to my place the same day. A visit to Kaniara village. We had just finished our breakfast when Sri Gopi Ram arrived with a jeep from his family. We reached there at about 10 a.m. All his family members and some neighbors were present. Sri Faqir Chand and Jagwanti, who made BA final student, had made their best to make the stay as comfortable as possible. After a formal reception, His Holiness gave a family satsang on home peace and unity in all members of the family, keeping in view the poverty of the family. His Holiness advised Jagwanti to do a B.Ed and promised to help her qualify for a B.Ed so that she may be able to get a government job. Jagwanti did get her B.Ed and got the government job just after passing B.Ed to support the family. This was the most humanitarian gesture of His Holiness. We had our lunch based on Pahadi dishes. His Holiness was requested to have some rest, and we moved out to see the panoramic beauty of the snow-bound Dhauladhar mountains. This village is known for its slates for the rooftops, and we also saw those mines and the work carried out by the exporters. As my elder companions felt tired, we came back. By this time, Babaji Maharaj had woken up and advised us to leave back to Dharamshala. After having tea with biscuits, we left for my place at about 5:30 p.m. My wife and some satsangis were waiting for us. Sri Gopal Das prepared the hookah, smoking pipe, for Babaji, and while enjoying the puffs of the smoking pipe, Babaji attended to every satsangi about his or her problems. After having dinner, Sri Gopal Das told me that Babaji Maharaj is to reach Pathankot tomorrow. Though it was a shock to me, but the program was already made. So I asked my wife to prepare breakfast at her earliest, and that I would too accompany Maharajji up to Pathankot. So after breakfast I left to the bus stand to purchase the tickets, with a request to the conductor to stop the bus at the gate of my residence to board the other passengers. The bus arrived, and we all left for Pathankot. The satsangis of Pathankot were waiting at the bus stand as per the scheduled program. After having tea, I requested for permission from Maharajji to leave for Dharamshala, though very half-heartedly. His Holiness said, "Yes, beta, you leave as your children must be waiting for you." So after paying my inner obeisance to His Holiness and saying Radha Swami to all present there, I left back to Dharamshala. When I reached my residence, I felt a great vacuum in the house and lost of constant radiations of His Holiness for many days. Chapter 15. Second visit of His Holiness during 1970. During the summer every year, Babaji Maharaj used to visit Kulu and Manali to stay with Sri Bhaktawar Singh, an ETO and a very honest person in the Department of Excise, Himachal Pradesh. From there I received a letter from His Holiness informing me about his visit to Dharamshala on the way back to Hoshiarpur. The date of the visit and arrival of the bus at Dharamshala was also written. On the said date, we made all necessary arrangements for their comfortable stay. My wife prepared lunch too, and we started to wait for the arrival of the said bus, with an eye on the arrival of every bus to the city. There was no telephone or cell phone to know about their distance from Dharamshala. I would come out to see every bus with an anxiety to have darshan of Satguruji at the earliest. The time of their arrival expired. The sun was moving with a great speed towards the west, increasing my worry about delay, as I was sitting in the veranda along with my wife and children. I started feeling uneasy. Time was about 3 p.m. A knock on the stick of the road was heard. I rushed out to confirm it. It was the knock of the stick of Babaji Maharaj. I looked down to the road coming from Kangra, but nothing. Then I heard another knock, and I turned at once upward the road coming down. To my utter surprise, His Holiness was walking down at a distance of about 150 meters. I rushed to His Holiness, touched his holy feet, and got his blessings. While putting his right hand on my left shoulder, His Holiness said to one, "Bachcha, beta, you do not know for what I come to you." I kept mum with folded hands and dared not say a word, but later on, I realized that mission of his visit was to mend my life and chisel my thoughts. I led His Holiness to the room for rest. The other members of the party followed, since they had their lunch during the journey. They took tea with some snacks only. Gopal Das told that the bus they had come on via Bilaspur and went up by another road to petrol pump bus stand. So we had to come down. Since the journey was very long, everyone wanted to have rest without any disturbance. I did some massage to the feet and legs of His Holiness for some time. This evening, I did not invite anyone to satsang, but still many people came to have blessings for their worldly problems. Satsang. For the next few days, I had arranged 2 satsangs daily, morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I had also informed all the officials, including faculty members, and had also invited the people of my surroundings, including doctors and lawyers. This time my father too was with us. His Holiness primarily spoke on the procreation of children with noble and good intentions of quality, with historical examples of Abhimanyu, son of Arjun of Mahabharata, and with the examples from his personal life. He laid more stress on home peace, the importance of celibacy for the young generation, to have a healthy life, a life free from hatred, envy, jealousy, and enmity, the brotherhood of mankind and fatherhood of God, and for those who had an inclination for spiritual life. He advised them to follow path of Gayatri Mantra in detail, and above all to lead a happy life, to follow Ved Marg, Shiv Sankalpamatsu, and to have positive and noble thoughts for the whole of mankind. For me, His Holiness gave me individual satsang upon body, mind, soul, and surat, which is not the topic to be noted over here. Chapter 16. An Experience of the Brahmand. On the night of the second day, I was sleeping in the adjacent room to His Holiness. Since I did not have a watch with me, I cannot write about the time, but I understand it must be about 2 a.m. His Holiness came, took the left hand of my subtle body, and said, "Come, child, I would show you the entire Brahmand." We started to fly in the sky with my hand in his right hand. I was feeling very light and happy, being led by His Holiness. I did not see any vision, colour, or form of any things, nor did I have any thoughts of Kalmaya, of this mundane world, except that of an ocean of light. We crossed more than 10 regions, loks, in the language of scriptures. Then I requested, "Pitaji, O my father, I feel very much tired, and I cannot go beyond any more, please." "Well," His Holiness said, "let us return." After a few minutes, I came conscious of my physical body, and sat to wait for the time to talk to His Holiness. I could not sleep for the rest of the night, but enjoyed the bliss of Simran and Dhyan and of light within. As usual, early in the morning, Gopal Das Ji gave bath to His Holiness and prepared the smoking pipe for him. In the meantime, I too had a bath in the courtyard. The moment I overheard the sound of the puff of smoking, I went inside and put my head in the holy feet of Param Dayal Ji, and narrated the whole story of travel in the highest regions of the Brahmand, led by His Holiness himself. After a puff, His Holiness looked into my eyes and said, "Beta, it was not I, but your Satguru who led you on this journey." I said, "Pitaji, why did I feel tired when all this was for my good?" His Holiness said, "Listen, your children are still very small. You have to raise them. You have still many social duties. You have to gain the experience of body, mind, Gyan, and Vivek. That is why you could not go beyond duty or attachment with them all. Ultimately, you shall achieve your mission of life." His Holiness said all this with his right hand on my head. Now I could understand and realized why His Holiness had said to me, "Beta, you do not know for what I come to you." I touched the holy feet, and with permission came out to help my wife to prepare breakfast and to bring anything if required from bazaar. Chapter 17. Departure from Pragpur and my transfer. After having breakfast, His Holiness left for Pragpur by bus about 10 a.m., leaving me and my family with a great vacuum. As soon as we went inside, 2 colleagues of mine from college came. I thought that they might have come to have the darshan of His Holiness. I was just about to tell them about the departure of Maharaj Ji. They told me about my transfer. On asking for details, they told me that I was to be transferred to Government College Rampur, Bushehr, about 80 kilometers away from Shimla upward. After having enjoyed the happiest company of His Holiness, this news was a shocking experience. For a few moments, I felt sad. When my wife learned about it after coming out from the kitchen and said to me, "What has happened? Why are you sad and worried? Babaji is at Pragpur. Go and get his advice and do whatever His Holiness says." These words of my wife gave me needed courage, and I left for Pragpur by the next available bus. From the main road, I covered the distance of about 2 kilometers on foot to Pragpur within no time. When I reached the residence of Sri Meghnad Sood, I found His Holiness was enjoying the puff of his smoking pipe before retiring for rest after a long journey by bus. I reached His Holiness with folded hands, put my head in his lap, Putting his hand on my head, Maharaj Ji said, "I have just come from you. What has happened that you have followed me?" I raised my head and said, "Pitaji, I got transferred from Government College Dharamshala to Government College Rampur Bushehr." Babaji asked, "Where is Rampur Bushehr?" I replied, "It is about 80 kilometers away from Shimla upward." His Holiness said, after a little pause, "Very good. You must go and join there, beta. Stagnant water gets contaminated." With these words of His Holiness, all my worry disappeared like dark clouds with a gust of wind in the sky. I felt very light and left back for Dharamshala after having a cup of tea and blessings as directed by His Holiness. After I reached Dharamshala, my wife was eagerly waiting for me. After having a glass of water, I reproduced every word of Babaji Maharaj to her. My wife, though not educated in the modern term, was more worldly wise than me, and had great faith in the word of His Holiness. So, she encouraged me to make preparations to leave for the new place. I packed everything, leaving a few essentials for her and the children, hired a truck and left for Rampur, Bushehr, even without getting myself relieved from the college, in obedience to the word of my Satguruji next day morning. Chapter 18. Rampur Bushehr. Next day, after a night's stay on the way, I reached Rampur Bushehr College, situated on Shimla Kalpa Road, about 2 kilometers away from the city. I straightaway went to the principal and told him about my transfer to his college. I requested for him to give me some room to unload my belongings from the truck. He asked me about the relieving slip from the Government College Dharamshala. I tried to convince him that I have come without it, but I shall bring it when I shift to this place with my family after a few days. But he was adamant, saying that he has no proof that I am transferred to his college. We were just busy discussing my arrival in the college without a relieving order, when his clerk, Sri Kaundalalji from Hamirpur, came to my rescue and said to his principal, "Sir, I have 2 rooms vacant in my quarter. Professor Sahib can put his household items in my rooms till he shifts with his family to this place." The recalcitrant principal agreed. I unloaded my belongings in his one room, thanked the principal and Mr. Kaundal for his timely help, and left back in the same truck, assuring them that I would be joining the college during the vacation itself. Next day, I reached Dharamshala, got myself relieved, made all payments due, and left for Sundarnagar by bus with my wife, elder son Rambilas, 5 years old, and Divya Jyoti, 3 years old, saying goodbye to Dharamshala. Stay at Sundarnagar. We left by bus early morning, leaving the very dearly mother-like landlady Mayawati ji weeping. She helped us to make the stay of His Holiness as comfortable as possible, and we would never forget her for love. While in the bus, my wife took both children in her left and right side, and I started to ponder over the words of His Holiness about the contamination of stagnant water. Oh, His Holiness foresaw my future at Dharamshala and saved me from the nightmare of my life, which I penned down as under. Chapter 19. Significance of my transfer. In college, I was the only teacher to teach all the 4 classes. I had love for my subject and would never leave my class, nor would I enjoy any casual leave, and my results used to be always 100%. One local girl in her final year had started to visit me with one excuse or another, just to sit with me and gossip on multifarious subjects. Sometimes she would visit my wife, who had gone to bazaar. She would even visit me on her way to college and on the way back too. Her leaning towards me in the presence of my children was unwarrantable. I started to notice her efforts to create differences between me and my wife. I told her elder sister to advise her sister not to visit my house, but she would not listen to one. Thanks to the will of my Satguruji that I got my transfer order. Otherwise, who knows what a scene that girl would have created for me and spoiled my married life. While on the bus, I realized the significance of the words of my Satguruji, since otherwise I might have tried to stay put there at Dharamshala and faced the nightmare, spoiling my happy family life. We reached Sundarnagar in the evening. Brother of my wife, an employee at Bhakra Management Board, was already at the bus stand as he was already informed. So we stayed with him for about 4 days. On the 5th day, we left for Shimla on the way to Rampur Bushehr. Since there was only one bus that left Shimla for Rampur Bushehr early morning at 4 a.m., we had to stay in a hotel for the night. This was my first visit to this town. So I took my family to the mall for a stroll in the evening. There was great hustle and bustle on the mall due to the severe summer in the plains. Children were feeling tired due to steep climbing to the mall, so we had no charm in roaming in the crowd and returned to the hotel. We spent the night, got up at 3 a.m., paid the dues and reached the bus stand on time. In a few minutes, the bus was full to capacity and left at exactly 4 a.m. Roads then were not broad as today. There were acute bends on the hilly roads, and I was praying all the way for a safe journey. After a stay for tea at Narkanda, the bus moved down to Nirmand, from where the road up to Rampur Bushehr was by the side of river Satluj. We reached Rampur Bushehr city at 2 p.m., hired one attendant and reached the college campus, leaving my family in the quarters of Sri Kaundalal ji, and went to college office and submitted my relieving slip and joined the college duty during vacation of 1970 itself. Chapter 20. Government Accommodation. Members of the teaching faculty and office staff were very much cooperative, being less in numbers. After 2 days' stay at Sri Kaundalal's house, I got government accommodation in the staff quarters just above the main road. The college is situated on the left bank of river Satluj. The number of students at that time was about 200 only. I was given the charge of cultural activities to prepare students for the University Youth Festival. In the meantime, the Himachal government established its own university, and the first youth festival was organized at Shimla. I prepared a team of folk dance comprising girls and boys for this first youth festival. All colleges of Himachal Pradesh participated in this festival. My team won the trophy in folk dance, and I too was honored by the education minister along with my team. Thus, in college, there was no problem for me. After a few months, my father too joined us and stayed with us for a fortnight. There were sufficient fruits available at our doorstep. Fresh vegetables were also available at home at very cheap rates. Apples were available in abundance. Once a science teacher was transferred to Government Una, and I sent out 1 pack of apples with him to Una in his truck, from where my younger brother Sarwan collected it. So as far as officials and social life was concerned, it was all very satisfactory, with no grudge or complaint. But as far as spiritual aspect of life is concerned, it was zero. People worshipped their village devatas, and animal sacrifices on particular occasions were prevalent. I happened to visit a village situated at the top of a mountain, and saw all this inhuman treatment with the goats and birds. I was told that there was once a tradition of human sacrifice as well. So there was no satsang, no get-together, no temple alike in Punjab, no pandit with tika on his forehead. But there was one animal fair known as Lavi Festival, in which people from far mountains would come to sell dry fruits and handmade handicraft and carry away provisions for the winter season. So from their point of view, life was very happy and peaceful, with no crimes of any type at that time. But for me, there was nothing attractive. So after a few months, I started to feel like a fish out of water. Thus I started to write to His Holiness from time to time about unfavorable conditions for a good company of people and satsang. Tape recording and videography had not yet come into the market as today. I had only one monthly book, Beiman Manushya, published by Sri Devi Charan Mittal from Aligarh. This booklet carried about 3 satsangs of His Holiness, and they were my regular companions. Reading it made me more emotional for physical presence in the company of His Holiness, and I started to write very emotional letters to Babaji Maharaj for my transfer from this place to some other college from where I could attend at least one monthly satsang. After some regular letters full of emotions, one day I received a postcard from Huzur Maharaj Ji with the words, "Why are you worried so much? You shall be transferred within a year." So my worries all vanished, and I rushed back home from college and broke the news to my wife, telling her that we shall leave this place during the summer vacation. The word of Satguru Paramdayal Ji Maharaj Ji was final for me. So I started to pack the household, having a firm faith that I would get transfer orders during the vacation time. When I was packing, my colleagues came and asked me, "Mr. Kamal, what are you doing?" I said, "I am packing my household items." He asked, "Why?" I said, "I shall be transferred during vacations." He said, "Impossible. Nobody gets transferred from this place. See, Sri Agrawal Ji, Sri Dullo Ji and Sayal families here for the last 20 years. So how you think that you shall be transferred within a year?" I told him very authoritatively that I shall be transferred this very vacation. He laughed at me and left. Me and my wife packed everything, and during vacation left for home to visit His Holiness as soon as possible and spent the vacation with my parents. Chapter 21. Miracles Happen. My request to His Holiness for transfer. At home, the old building needed some repairs, and I was on the roof with a mason. Sri Dayaramji, one of the well-wishers of our family, came and inquired from me, "Where are you nowadays? I have not seen you for many months." I said, "Babaji, I am at Rampur Bushehr College." He asked, "Where is this college?" I replied, "This college is 80 kilometers away from Shimla upward." He again asked, "Who has sent you there so far away? Come down and tell me who can transfer you to a closer place." I came down, touched his feet, being elder, and told him everything. He told me to be ready the next day, early morning, to accompany him for a transfer. I told my wife that the letter of Babaji Maharaj had started to work. Next day, early morning, he came on his cycle and took me to the village Chabbewal at a distance of about 15 kilometers. There he introduced me to Sri Chaudhary Ramratanji and told him about my transfer and stressed to him to help me to do the needful. I knew Chaudhary Ji from my college days. So he got ready and we left for Chandigarh. By reaching Chandigarh, he inquired about some particular gentleman and learnt that he was in the meeting. So we moved to the meeting place. He went inside the meeting room and came back asking me to give him one blank paper which I did not have. To my good luck, some school students were coming towards me and I asked them for a paper. All students opened their bags and offered to have as many papers as I needed. I took one paper from a student and gave it to Chaudhary Ji. Thanking the student, I wished good to all the students and they left smiling. Is it not a miracle? After a few minutes, Chaudhary Ji came out with the recommendation of my transfer to the Education Minister of Himachal Pradesh. He suggested moving for Shimla since it was forenoon, so we caught the bus and reached Shimla by 3 p.m. On the way to Shimla, we took our meals where the bus stopped. We reached the secretariat and learnt that the Education Minister is on tour and he shall be back after 2 days. Sri Chaudhary suggested that it is useless and very expensive to stay here for 2 days. Better we should go back and come on the 4th day. So we left by the earliest bus and reached Hoshiarpur before dusk. Chaudhary Ji told me that he shall be at the residence of Chaudhary Amar Singh Ji to attend some religious function and I should come there on that day. So I also left for home with that letter in safe custody. On the appointed day, I reached the residence of Chaudhary Amar Singh Ji in Railway Mandi, where Chaudhary Ramratan Ji was already waiting for me. He came out and said, "See, beta, this letter with you is most powerful. This will work for you and not me. Why spend unnecessarily for my travel too? You go alone and present it to the Education Minister. Your work shall be done. My good wishes for you." So at once I caught the first bus for Chandigarh, from there for Shimla, and reached Shimla and the Secretariat by 2:30 p.m. A security clerk reached the office of the Education Minister I first met his secretary, who opened my letter, read it, and directed me to see the education minister, and told me if EM asks you about who opened this letter, you say that your secretary has opened it. Chapter 22. Miracle after miracle. The door of the office was open. The worthy education minister was alone in the office, going through some official documents. I got the necessary permission and went inside and handed over my application. He read it and asked me to sit on the chair in front of him. As I sat, he ordered his assistant to bring tea with snacks. The assistant gave me a cup of tea with biscuits. As I was sipping a cup of tea, the worthy minister asked me, "Where would you like to be transferred, beta?" I requested, "Sir, please give me Government College Bilaspur, from where it would be easy for me to visit my parents off and on." The worthy minister rang up the Director of Education, giving details about my transfer from Government College Ram Bushehar to Government College Bilaspur with immediate effect. The worthy minister asked me, "Are you happy? Go and join your new college." I expressed my heartfelt thanks and bowed my head to him, and came out overjoyed, singing songs of great gratitude to my Satguruji for his blessings. I came out of the secretariat on the main road, planning to leave for Hoshiarpur to reach home with the happy news this very moment. Sri Joshiji, who was a superintendent in the education department at Dharamshala when I was there, came in front of me and asked loudly, "Oh, Kamalji, how are you here?" I told Joshiji, "I am coming from the worthy education minister after getting my transfer from Government College Rampur Bushehar to Government College Bilaspur." Joshiji asked, "Where are you going now?" I told him, "I would like to catch the first bus for Hoshiarpur." Joshiji said, "No, you will not go. Come along and we shall get the orders by hand now and then decide what to do." So he returned back, reached 1 PCO and rang up the PA of the Director of Education and confirmed about my transfer orders from the Education Minister. When PA confirmed about my transfer, Sri Joshiji asked him to prepare the orders and that we shall be reaching him to receive the orders by hand. I knew not where Sri Joshiji was going and with what purpose, but I am sure some supreme power had sent him for me to the appointed place. He led me to the office of Director of Education, which I had never visited earlier. The transfer orders were ready and duly signed by the director. As required, I signed the receipt register of the office and received the orders. Sri Joshiji congratulated me and said, "Now, Sri Kamalji, you will accompany me to my house. You will stay with us for the night. You will enjoy tea and dinner cooked by your Bhabiji. Early at 3 a.m. you shall have tea, packed lunch and any money if you need, and then I shall accompany you to bus stand to catch bus at 4 a.m. for Rampur Bushehar and get relieved to join at Bilaspur, and then go home to enjoy vacations with your family." During all this great advice and counsel from Sri Joshiji, I felt as if His Holiness Baba Faqir Ji Maharaj was doing all this for me. Stop for a moment and think how this particular event is taking place. As planned by Sri Joshiji, I got up at 3 a.m. Joshiji and his wife too got up, prepared tea, packed breakfast for me, and I, accompanied by Sri Joshiji, left for the bus stand. I boarded the bus, thanked Joshiji with folded hands for his hospitality and help, and left for Rampur Bushehar. I have no words to express my deepest thanks to these gentlemen who helped me without asking for help, and that too without any selfish interest. What a wonderful series of coincidences! The arrival of Sri Dayaramji at my house and village, leading me to Chaudhary Ram Ratanji, and his readiness to accompany me to Chandigarh. Arrival of school students to give me one paper, then going to Shimla alone, tea with the worthy education minister, transfer to desired college, and then lastly volunteering help and guidance by Sri Joshiji for me to join first and then go home. All this happened as a miracle, and I am ever indebted to my Satguru and his supreme truth revealed in his satsangs. My bus reached Rampur Bushehar at 2 p.m. and I reached the college office at 2:30. I presented my transfer order to the principal with a written request to relieve me with 1 month advance pay. He was the same principal who refused to accommodate me when I had come without a relieving slip from Government College Dharamshala to join his college. "How can I believe that you are transferred within 1 year? This order is fake," said the principal. Office clerk also came in to see my orders and said that the orders were genuine. Then I asked the principal to talk to the director, but he was silent. Then I said to him, "Can I use your official telephone and talk to the higher authorities?" His tail of powers came down and ordered for my relieving, but I said that I needed 1 month advance pay, since I do not have sufficient money with me to hire a truck to carry my household. So the office clerk, very cooperative, prepared my advance pay bill, got it passed, and made me the payment next day, along with my relieving slip for Government College Bilaspur. After receiving the relieving slip and money in my pocket, I left for my quarter. But on the way I found one empty truck standing on the petrol pump. On enquiry, the driver told that he is on the way to Dharamshala without any load. So I asked him if he could carry my household up to Bilaspur. He was happy to accept my proposal and said that he would charge 500 rupees. His truck moved to my residence, and I had to break open my lock and loaded the entire household already packed before we left for summer vacation, having a firm faith that I would positively be transferred as per the letter of His Holiness. To the surprise of all, I left Rampur Bushehr College and Colony within 48 hours without any information to my wife and parents, since there was no time to send telegrams to them. But my wife had firm faith in the words of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj and was not worried at all about me. Joining at Government College Bilaspur. Next day, after spending the night at Narkanda, I reached Bilaspur and unloaded the truck at the residence of my old colleague from Dharamshala, Professor Ghanshyam Gupta, who had joined Government College Bilaspur on transfer from Dharamshala. I went to college, submitted my relieving slip, and joined Government College Bilaspur precisely after 11 months, 2 days. Within 1 year, as His Holiness my Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj had written to me last year. I bow my head in reverence to His Holiness time and again for taking care of me and my family in such ways. Why should I not dedicate my life to His service? Chapter 23. Stay at Bilaspur full of life experiences. I, along with my family, left for Bilaspur during vacation and stayed at the residence of Professor Ghanshyam Gupta and his brother Ranveer Gupta for about a month or so. Thereafter, I got government accommodation in the college colony very near to college campus. This new town of Bilaspur is situated at a higher place on the banks of river Satluj, which is now known as Gobind Sagar. The old town is submerged in the Gobind Sagar. The climate of this town is like that of Punjab, but place proved a boon for me in many forms. Since our housing was of 4-room set, I converted one room into my sadhana abhyas room where nobody would disturb my meditations. My monthly visit to Hoshiarpur to attend satsang and have personal sitting with His Holiness became regular. The result was that I crossed all the inner stages of mind within and reached the stage of light and Shabd. When I wrote to His Holiness about this state of mind, His Holiness without any delay wrote me back not to do sadhana practice of this state. Writing to me, Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj wrote, "Beta, do not do abhyas or sadhana at this stage. Confine yourself to Simran and Dhyan. You are yet to look after your children. You have social and official responsibilities. You are yet to gain experience of your life at physical, mental and intellectual levels. Sadhana at the highest state of light and Shabd would develop a sense of apathy in you towards your family. Rest, I will talk to you when you visit satsang." During 1972, my father became sick, and in spite of the best efforts, there was no sign of recovery. One day, early in the morning, my father called in my younger brother Sarwan and asked him to write to me the letter with following narration. Today night at about 3 to 4 a.m., 2 gentlemen dressed in white came, and they first stood towards my feet and then came to my head side. Without saying a word, they caught hold of me and moved upwards to the sky. They reached a place with me where a few persons were sitting in line with huge ledger-type books before them. Each person was attending every man standing in a line before them and giving further direction to them. There I realized that they had brought me to the court of Dharmaraj, and my body in physical form was not with me. Thus I felt about my physical death and remembered your brother Professor Kamal for help and for him to come as soon as possible with Babaji to save me from the court of Dharmaraj. As I prayed, he, Professor Kamal, came along with Babaji at once. On the request of Professor, Babaji ordered them to release and leave me back at my place. So, by obeying Babaji Maharaj, they brought me back to my body and disappeared. This letter, written by my brother in Punjabi, was received by me in the evening mail in the college. I read it and applied for leave for 2 days. Next day, early morning, I left with my wife and children for Hoshiarpur via Ropar, because there was no other route for Hoshiarpur. We reached Hoshiarpur by 11 a.m., hired a rickshaw, and went directly to Manavta Mandir first to have a darshan of Babaji Maharaj and narrate the story of my father. His Holiness was sitting in his rest room, and some ladies and men were also sitting inside, sharing their worldly problem with His Holiness. The door was open. My wife led us inside. We paid our obeisance turn by turn. On my turn, I put my head on the holy feet of Babaji and also placed that letter on his holy feet. His Holiness unfolded the letter and said to me, "Beta, this is in Punjabi, and I do not know Punjabi." Babaji asked me to read it out. His Holiness gave me the letter and I read it word for word with tears in my eyes. When I read out the whole letter, His Holiness said to me, "Beta, now your father writes that you were with me to get him free from the court of Dharmaraj. Were you there with me? Do you know about all this?" I touched my ears and said, "Pitaji, I am not at all aware of this incident." His Holiness said, "You have been saying that I appear to you as and when you need me. If you were not there, I too was not there. This is the truth to be realized by you. It was the faith of your father. He knows that you love me, so he remembered us both at the time of extreme need to get freedom from the representatives of Dharmaraj. This is the secret being kept behind the iron curtain by the so-called gurus to exploit the ignorant followers. Yes, your father must be a very honest man whom men dressed in white came to take away. Had his life been dishonest and of corrupt nature, then persons with horrible appearances known as Jamraj would have come to him. Your father has many years of life. Go and see him. Serve him to the best of your capacity." So we begged to leave and left for the village after getting blessings of Satguruji. This incident of my father proved to be an everlasting experience of my life to realize the importance of honest living and also the reality of apparitions created by our mind. From this experience, I am fully convinced that those who claim that Babaji Maharaj appeared in person to them to solve their worldly problems is not the reality, but only a vision of their own mind, about which His Holiness Babaji Maharaj has time and again denied that he does not go anywhere and laid stress upon the power of mind that can create all such visions. Now I, by the grace of His Holiness, my Satguru Paramdayal Ji Maharaj, stand fully convinced that whatever I was seeing during my inner practice, sadhana, was nothing real, but only the impression and suggestions received from outside or my own samskars. I was blessed with a third son on 17th July 1973, whom Babaji gave the name of Kuldeepak. He is an engineer by profession and settled at Gurgaon after spending 10 years in Canada, along with his wife, who is a doctor, and 2 children, boy and girl. Death-like experiences. I, my wife and youngest son Kuldeepak, who was about 4 months old, were sleeping in the middle bedroom. Kuldeepak in the middle and my wife to the left end. Time must be about 2 a.m. There was a sudden light in the room, much brighter than any bulb or tube light. I found myself floating in the air at a height of about 3 feet from my body lying in the bed. I also saw my sleeping wife and son sleeping in the middle of my body and that of my wife. This scene must have lasted for a few seconds only. The light disappeared, and I came conscious of my physical existence. This I realized like a physical death of the body, and it was confirmed by Bhagat Munshi Ramji when I visited him. He told me that when his wife died, it was dark. As her soul left the body, he saw her soul in the form of light coming out of her body and going away out of the room in moments. It confirmed to me that a physical body is just a frame of bones, flesh, and of intestines full of water, blood, and have no importance without the soul and surat, consciousness. What I realized is that I saw the body and the light. So, I was different from light and body. All our scriptures and saints for centuries have been laying stress upon the realization of self while living in body in order to gain liberation from this cycle of life-death. Chapter 24. How to Avoid Bad Thoughts. It had become my habit to leave for Hoshiarpur as and when I felt to have darshan of Babaji. Sweet papaya is a local product of Bilaspur town, so I would carry a good piece of papaya for Babaji Maharaj. I also used to carry one nail cutter with me in order to trim the long nails of Maharajji's both hands and feet. So once, without any satsang program, I reached Hoshiarpur. His Holiness was sitting alone in the veranda. I bowed to the holy feet of Babaji and offered papaya. Sri Gopal Das Ji was called. He cut the papaya in 2 equal pieces, removed the seeds, and gave one half to Babaji with 1 spoon. His Holiness enjoyed its sweetness, washed hands, and I noticed the enlarged nails. So I trimmed them very politely, listening to the words of wisdom spoken by His Holiness. After a pause of few minutes, I spoke very humbly to Babaji as, Pitaji, sometimes such thoughts come in my mind, which disturb me, and I do not like them. His Holiness said, You are young, and it is but natural that such disturbing thoughts come to you. I am an old man, but such thoughts do come in my mind too that I do not like. I became a little pensive. His Holiness noticed it and said, Beta, you are blessed one that you become aware of your unwanted thoughts and try to avoid them. It is the thought that makes your life or ruins it. Well, His Holiness asked, if you want to plant a sapling in your house, what would you do? I replied, Pitaji, I would dig a pit for it. Then what next? His Holiness asked. I said, I would put some necessary manure in the pit and plant it with required water in the pit. His Holiness again asked me, what would you do thereafter? I humbly said, Pitaji, I would place some bushes around it to save it from animals and would regularly water it from time to time and would attend it from time to check its growth. Then my Satguru said, if you stop to water it and also stop to look after its growth, then what shall happen to that sapling? I submitted, Pitaji, it would fade and vanish very soon. So His Holiness, revealing to me the greatest truth of thought in our life, said, similarly, Beta, do not take care of such thoughts which you feel are not good for your life. Do not water them, which means do not pay your attention to such thoughts. They shall fade away and vanish like your unattended plant. Ah, what a great lesson of life received from Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, and I now feel peace, safe from such thoughts of negativity and polluted ones. Thus, by sitting at the holy feet of saints, I learnt the art of reading the unread book of your mind. I am indebted to my Satguru Ji for making my life a success in worldly and otherworldly life. Chapter 25. Writing of Satsangs in English. Once I was sitting alone reading a small book entitled Manavta, written by His Holiness Babaji Maharaj. This book contained the facts about the man in the physical, mental and spiritual forms. So, I decided to translate it in English during my spare time. I would sit and translate it as much as I could write. I completed it within 1 week and requested the office clerk to type my manuscript after office hours. He was kind to accept my request. So, after office hours, I would sit with him and this book was typed within a few days. I carried it with me to the monthly satsang, and after explaining about my effort to write Manavta in English, His Holiness desired for me to read it. His Holiness Bhagat Munshi Ramji, the then Secretary of the Trust, was also present. After I finished the reading, Param Dayalji Maharaj directed Bhagatji to get it printed. So this was the first English addition to the library of the Trust. I felt blessed and encouraged, and requested Bhagatji to supply me important discourses of His Holiness, so that I may translate them too for the English-knowing people. Bhagatji was very kind to find and arrange discourses that contained only one aspect of human life, and regularly gave them to me to translate them with an appropriate title. Thus, during my stay of about 6 years at Bilaspur, the following books in English were added to the library. 1. Manavta. 2. Satya Sanatan Dharm. 3. Namdan. 4. Jivan Mukti. 5. Know Thyself to Know God. 6. The Secret of Secrets. Many more are now available on the website of the Mandir. Once His Holiness asked me if I made any payment to the typist, and wished that he must be paid for this work, and asked Bhagatji to pay for this work. Bhagatji gave me some amount to give him, but he refused, saying that he too has done some seva service, and the money was returned to Bhagatji with his thanks. Chapter 26. Baisakhi Satsang of 1979 and the Visit of His Holiness, 1979. I left with my family early morning on April 12, 1979, to attend Baisakhi Satsang by bus. We reached Hoshiarpur by 10:30 a.m., hired a rickshaw, and reached Manavta Mandir. His Holiness was sitting in the veranda on his bed, enjoying the puffs of his smoking pipe. As he saw us under the Ashok tree, His Holiness left his smoking pipe and came to us. I went towards His Holiness, touched His holy feet by putting my knees on the ground. When I got up, His Holiness said, "Beta, this time these people have not kept a room for you in the mandir." I, with my folded hands, prayed, "Pitaji, I do not need any room in the mandir, but a place in thy holy feet." His Holiness embraced me, blessed us all, and returned to the veranda. We followed His Holiness. We stayed in his holy company for about 2 hours, and then left for the village. My wife and I attended all morning satsangs of Baisakhi, but not in the evening. Yes, no room in Manavta Mandir, but I did get a place in his holy lap. Such things do happen when centres like Manavta Mandir come in the hands of persons who have no spiritual bent of mind. Such people work to satisfy their own ego and for name and fame. Transferred to Government College, Hamirpur, 1976. I was transferred to Government College, Hamirpur in 1976. I joined there and stayed with Professor Agarwalji, who was my colleague at Ram Bashehar, till I got an independent residence. Here at Hamirpur, the houses are of old style with low height and slated roofs. After about 2 weeks, I got one house, but with no bathroom or kitchen attached. Since there was no other option, I shifted my family to Hamirpur. Now the distance between Hoshiarpur and Hamirpur came down to a 4-hour journey from 6 hours from that of Bilaspur. From here many times my wife too would accompany me to Hoshiarpur for satsang. During 1977, Bhagat Bhaktawar Singh Ji ETO also joined Hamirpur after his transfer from Kullu. He was also a devout follower of Param Dayalji Maharaj. So I got a good company for evening get-togethers. During summer vacation of 1979, we decided to request Babaji Maharaj to visit Hamirpur. His Holiness accepted our request, and one inspector of the excise department took the responsibility to accompany Maharaj Ji and other members from Hoshiarpur to Hamirpur in a hired taxi. So I came back home to make necessary arrangements. Arrangement for reception. I put banners at different places, informing about the visit of His Holiness with the satsang program. I also engaged one music band and party to accompany His Holiness from a particular point of the town to my residence. I also instructed the inspector to inform us as soon as he reaches the petrol pump situated on the entry point of the town. The residence of Judicial Magistrate J. Goel was next to my residence, and thus I gave his telephone number to the inspectors to keep us in touch. Heaviest rains. As per his will, the night it rained very heavily before their departure from Hoshiarpur. All the rivulets of Hoshiarpur got flooded, and the bridge over Bhangi Choe, name of main rivulet of Hoshiarpur, collapsed and stopped traffic to Dharamshala and Hamirpur. The entourage had left Manavta Mandir on time for Hamirpur, but they too got stuck there along with others. The entire traffic stood still till the flood receded to the minimum level to cross it. During this period, no one could inform us about the floods, nor did they go back to Manavta Mandir till the traffic was normal. It was at about 3 p.m. The vehicle started to cross the low-level water, and the car of Babaji Maharaj also crossed over for Hamirpur. Here at Hamirpur, all the glamour of reception for His Holiness Satguru Param Dayalji Maharaj became dim. All banners got drenched and posters were washed away by rains. The music band, having had their lunch, desired to leave for their homes before darkness. So they were paid. They too left as the sky was overcast. It appeared that His Holiness never wanted to reach Hamirpur around with such a pomp and show. Call from Judge Sahib. At about 5:30 p.m., Sri Goel Sahib called for me. I rushed to his house, presuming that there was some information about the arrival of His Holiness. But now there was a cobra snake in front of his kitchen, and sparrows were surrounding it while raising noise. Sri Goel desired that I should take some action. First of all, I threw one towel before him to make the snake immovable, but he did not bite it. Then I again threw one piece of cloth for the same purpose again. He did not move. Then I addressed him thus, "Well, have you come to die from my hands or move on?" The snake, which was more than 3 feet and very dark black color, moved, and I gave him 2 beats of a wooden rod on his head, and he died. I arranged his deep burial in the nearby fields. When I came home, my wife objected to this action of mine on the day of arrival of His Holiness at our house. I convinced her about the circumstances that led me to kill the snake. His Holiness arrives. The sun had set, darkness was increasing, and we were all worried, but still waiting for His Holiness. A horn was heard, and I rushed towards the road. His Holiness arrived, and our worries disappeared. Ladies sang the songs of the arrival of Satguru. His Holiness was welcomed by all the residents of the locality. The landlady was kind enough to lend her drawing room for the stay of my Satguru. Since the entire party was feeling tired due to the long journey and for waiting at the collapsed bridge, they had dinner and retired for rest. His Holiness desired to have a massage of his head. So I applied mustard oil and gave a massage for a few minutes. His Holiness went into Samadhi, and I left them all to have rest. Next morning, the school-going children were having their bath, so the bathroom was occupied. His Holiness was to have his bath in order to be ready for satsang on time. Our kitchen room was quite a large one, so Sri Gopalji suggested one side of the kitchen for a bath. After making necessary arrangements, His Holiness was given a bath in the kitchen. Now, see the difference between other so-called gurus who stay in posh hotels and my Satguruji Maharaj having his bath in the kitchen room. I bow my head in reverence to my great Satguru. My Satguru never treated the rich and poor differently. He never demanded any special treatment. Satsang programs. As per information given in the posters, His Holiness gave 4 satsangs in the courtyard of the house of my landlord, Sri Ajit Singh. There used to be large gatherings and thereafter individual meetings of the satsangis with His Holiness. Unfortunately, there was no recording system there at that time to record the most important satsangs delivered there at my place. Many people requested His Holiness to visit their residence for blessings. But His Holiness visited Sri J. Goel, the judge, for a few hours. One day, from morning to evening, was spent with the family of Sri Bhaktawar Singh Ji, and on another day we spent some time at the residence of Sushmana Behan and Sri Karanti Kumarji. Here we all enjoyed tea with snacks, but His Holiness did not take even a drop of water. The same evening His Holiness desired to move out in the open. So along with Mr. Goyal, we went to the rest house, which is situated at a height amidst the pine trees, where there was lush green courtyard. Sri Goyal asked the caretaker to bring a chair for His Holiness, and we sat around on the green grass. Here Babaji Maharaj gave satsang to Mr. Goyal regarding the mental stages of abhyas and their significance in the life of a practitioner. Here we enjoyed the fresh air of the pine trees and returned after about 2 hours. Departure for Pragpur. Next day morning after breakfast, His Holiness left for Pragpur in the same car, blessing my family and all those present at the time of departure to live a happy, healthy and peaceful life. Chapter 27. Visit of my brother and myself to His Holiness. After securing his M.A., my brother Sarwan left for Abu Dhabi and joined some shipping company as supervisor. He returned after 1.5 years and wrote me a letter at Hamirpur to be with him to visit Babaji Maharaj. It was in the month of March 1977 when we went to Manavta Mandir to have darshan of Maharaj Ji and pay our obeisance. His Holiness was sitting on the bed for rest, having puffs of his smoking pipe. We bowed and touched his holy feet. As my brother was wearing a golden ring, His Holiness inquired about the ring. My brother put off the ring and handed over to His Holiness. His Holiness put it on his own finger and laid down for some rest. I started to do a massage of the legs of His Holiness's feet to above the knees. After a few minutes, His Holiness said to me, "Apply your full energy." So I followed the directive and silently put my full energy to do the seva. After a few minutes, since I had put on a jacket, I started to perspire and started to pray from within that Babaji Maharaj may ask me to stop. After a few minutes more, His Holiness opened his eyes, got up and sat. I had presumed that His Holiness was in samadhi. Now His Holiness put off that golden ring from his finger and gave it to my brother, who again put it in his finger, as directed by Babaji Maharaj. Thereafter His Holiness gave us these blessings. Whosoever accepts me as his ideal, have faith in me, and believes my word, shall never be poor in his life. We surrendered ourselves to the holy feet of Satguru Paramdayalji Maharaj and left for home as per his permission. From this day onward, things started to change in our lives. Now we are having everything for which people run from pillar to post. We served our parents to their fullest satisfaction, and they enjoyed their lives as the parents of blessed sons. Family of Sarwan is well settled with one LPG agency and one petrol pump. Entire family is educated. One daughter married in Canada, second one in the excise department, third one is chartered accountant. The son is at M.Com and helping his father. My all sons are married. Elder one has LPG agency, second one is a businessman with his wife as a pharmacist in government job, and third one is an engineer with a factory at Gurgaon. His wife is a doctor. All the three have one daughter and one son each. I am enjoying retired life with good amount of pension. All this by the blessings of my Satguru, to whom I have dedicated my life to spread his teachings for whole of my retired life. My wife left for her heavenly abode on 12th November 2017, as per her own desire, after giving me her happy company for more than 55 years. She made my life a heaven on earth. Writing of books in English. Here, after the departure of His Holiness, I shifted to a new residence with a spacious independent place, as Bhagat Ji had supplied me with very important satsangs for translation. So I again undertook the noble work and translated and compiled the following books. 1. Weight of Soul, a small booklet, but with unparalleled information. 2. The Essence of Truth. 3. The Master Speaks to the Foreigners. 4. The Art of Happy Living. 5. The Yogic Philosophy of Saints. Thereafter, I joined the university as a working teacher to get a degree in MPhil, and thus could not devote time for translations, but I did not miss any monthly satsang or Baisakhi satsang. Chapter 28. Request for another visit to Hamirpur, and last personal satsang for me. During 1980, I had come to attend monthly satsang. All satsangis left after having prasad from His Holiness. Last of all, I too had prasad from the holy hands of Babaji Maharaj. Thereafter, Maharajji went into his room to have rest, whereas I sat with Sri Gopal Das Ji. During our conversation, Sri Gopal Das asked me to request Maharaj to visit Hamirpur again for satsang. I also wanted to have His Holiness Maharaj to be with me for some days at Hamirpur. After having inspiration from Sri Gopal Das, I went inside the room. His Holiness, after satsang, was alone, having puffs from his smoking pipe. I bowed to the holy feet, and with folded hands made a humble request for satsang at Hamirpur this year too. His Holiness put his right hand full of compassion on my head and said, "Beta, how long will you continue to love this body? How long would we continue to drag this old frame of my body? I have revealed to you the secret, the ultimate truth, and the essence of Sant Mat. What more do you need? I wish to see you in the state in which I am." While saying all of this to me, fingers of His Holiness were moving on my head, as if His Holiness were transmitting entire realization in my body, mind, and soul to the level of my real self. I had no words to speak. Tears of love and gratitude were rolling down my cheeks. My head involuntarily bowed into the lap of Satguru Paramdayalji, losing all sense of my existence for some time. His Holiness gave me a pat, and I came out with a new life. I did not talk much with Sri Gopal Das Ji, who was waiting for me, but left for Hamirpur without sharing my experience with anybody. And today I have penned it down for the coming generations to understand what the real Sant Mat is, and how a Satguru takes care of those who are in search of the truth of self. The year of 1981. During this year, in addition to my duty, I devoted time to study for my MPhil degree. But I did not miss any monthly satsang, and was always at Manavta Mandir by Saturday evening, and sometimes I also used to follow His Holiness to 18 Railway Mandi, to have continuous darshan and radiation, as it was part and parcel of my life. Chapter 29. The last Guru Purnima Satsang, 26 July 1981. This last satsang on Guru Purnima was held in the courtyard of the mandir. A large number of satsangis had come to attend this satsang. His Holiness spoke about his life in search of truth, and appealed to us to live a truthful life with peace at home. For success in life, he advised to do Simran and meditate on the holy face of the Guru or your ideal. And for those who wish to free themselves from the hands of life and death, they should follow the path of Surat Shabd Yoga. Lastly, while giving his blessings to all the satsangis, he said, "May you all have good and sufficient food, clothing to wear, house to live in, and peace of mind. Radha Swami." After saying this, His Holiness came down from the stage, directing Kamalpur Wali Mataji to distribute prasad to the satsangis, and he went into the room where I followed His Holiness to do some seva of massage. After some time, Bhagatji was called in, and His Holiness said to him, "Bhagatji, I am going to America. From there I shall come in a wooden box," and directed him to cremate the body at this very place, where now the Param Shanti Sthal is standing, and unfurl the flag of Be-Man, Manushya Bhanu, upon the remains of my body, after putting them deep in the ground. I was witness to all this conversation with no word to utter. I had to get permission to leave as my exam was approaching. His Holiness left to attend the last meeting of the trust, and I came to Hamirpur with a heavy heart, though realizing that body is not the Satguru, as His Holiness had already made me realize this truth of life. During August, I did not go to Hoshiarpur, as His Holiness had been desired by Dr. Ramdev Rao to reach America at the earliest. I do not know the exact day or date when His Holiness left for America. As my exam for my MPhil degree was approaching, I left for Shimla in the second week of September. Before departure, as usual, I stood with closed eyes. Before the photograph of His Holiness bearing the words of blessing for me under his signature, I heard from within the following words of His Holiness. Beta, I am no more confined in my body. I am present in the whole universe. I at once opened my eyes, bowed to the photograph, and shared these words with my wife, and left to catch the bus for Shimla. The inner message confirmed. As the bus reached the Bilaspur bus stand for a few minutes' stop, I purchased one copy of Daily Tribune just to pass time in the bus. After going through some news, I turned the page and found the photograph of His Holiness with a caption of leaving the holy body in America. The early morning message of His Holiness about leaving the mortal frame was confirmed, and I again bowed to the photograph in the newspaper. Chapter 30. Receipt of Telegram. I was staying in the university guest house and busy with my studies. At about 11 a.m., one gentleman knocked at the door of my room. As I opened the door, he handed over to me a telegram from the secretary Manavta Mandir, which was redirected to me from Government College Hamirpur, regarding the shedding of mortal remains by His Holiness. I put my books aside, locked the doors of the room, and left for the post office situated in the campus of the university. My solemn pledge to His Holiness, my Satguru-ji. I requested the postmaster for one telegram form. After getting it, I stood with my face towards Hoshiarpur, since that was where I was sending the telegram. I addressed the telegram to His Holiness Satguru Paramdayalji Maharaj at Manavta Mandir, Hoshiarpur, and wrote, I on this day solemnly pledge that after retirement I shall devote my entire life to spread thy teachings without any selfish motive for name or fame or for money. Signed, B.R. Kamal at Shimla. Being busy with my exam, I could not leave even to attend the last rites. However, my wife with my younger son and my brother attended the last rites. It is told that there were no clouds on that day of 16th September 1981. When Sri Padam Jangji lit the pyre, dark clouds came, and it rained heavily for a few minutes over Manavta Mandir and some areas around. It was a natural miracle. The shining sun of knowledge for Manavta disappeared, physically leaving behind an ocean of knowledge for the coming generation to ponder over, for perfect peace of mind and liberation from the cycle of Kal and Maya. Chapter 31. Who appointed me to do seva of satsang? This question has lurked in the minds of some people for some time, and may still be in some minds. I put the facts straight once and for all. As I wrote earlier that I visited 18 railway mandi residents of Holiness Paramdayalji Maharaj during May 1959 to have his darshan with full of love and emotions. As I touched the holy feet of Paramdayalji Maharaj, I felt the radiation of total vacuum in my body, mind and soul, and thus a wave of love, compassion and grace came from the eyes and hands of Satguru Paramdayalji, and he initiated me by putting his right hand finger in the middle of my eyebrows with the word Radha Swami. From that day, I became a dedicated disciple of Babaji Maharaj. On 20th April 1980, His Holiness wrote his first and final will, and appointed Bhagat Munshiram Sadguru Vakat as Guru, and Dr. Sharma Manavdayalji as Guru when he returned from America after his retirement after 2 years. After Guru Purnima Satsang of July 1981, His Holiness left for America with certain instructions to Bhagat Munshiramji about the arrival of his body in a coffin, and also told him the place in Mandir where the body was to be cremated, and the remains to be buried in the ground with a flag of B-Man Manushyabhanu to be unfurled upon it. After this satsang, Babaji did not distribute the prasad, but asked Kamalpur Wali Mataji to distribute the prasad. I, with a heavy heart, bowed and touched the holy feet of the Incarnation in the holy form of Param Dayal Baba Faqir Ji Maharaj, and left for Hamirpur. The purpose of appointing two persons as his successors was due to the fact that His Holiness had a mission. One, Bhagat Ji was to give satsang and to initiate the seekers, whereas it was desired by His Holiness that Dr. I.C. Sharma, who was a learned man, would compare Sant Mat and Sanatan Mat and prove that Sant Mat or Radha Swami Mat were not different from each other. Rather, Radha Swami Mat is a refined form of Sanatan Dharma. But unfortunately, Dr. Sharma, after coming back from America, directed Bhagat Ji to leave Manavta Mandir and himself assumed the entire responsibility. The result was he came under the influence of such persons who exploited him, and the result is known to one and all. Words of His Holiness were disobeyed at a very high cost, and the mission of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj was derailed for many years. As I wrote earlier, I was registered with the University of Himachal Pradesh, Shimla, for my MPhil degree. I left for Shimla in the first week of September 1981 for preparations for the final exam, and thus I could not attend the last rites of the holy body. But my wife, youngest son and brother attended the cremation in Manavta Mandir. On receipt of telegram from Bhagat Ji Maharaj, I sent a telegram in the name of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, about which I have already written. I came to attend monthly satsang after a year or so, and found abrupt changes in the mandir. Manav Dayal Ji Maharaj had come after getting voluntary retirement before 2 years. Bhagat Munshi Ram Ji Maharaj had vacated his own constructed room and left for Chandigarh to live with his children. Manav Dayal Ji Maharaj, along with Bhagya Mata Ji, had made America set as his residence on the first floor. On learning about me, Maharaj Ji showed some love and attachment towards me. But after some months he started to avoid me, and even did not publish my writings in the Shatabdi book published in 1986. I had written some chapters about my love and association with Babaji. Since I found him always surrounded by selfish sycophants, I too became indifferent. I would go very occasionally to pay my homage at the three-pillared Samad of my Satguru, and listen to the monthly satsang and return home. It was very unfortunate that a well-read and most intelligent professor of Indian religious philosophy, Manav Dayal Ji Maharaj, my Guru Bhai, became a tool in the hands of a junta in the mandir and outside. Simply put, he became a victim of the rich and authoritative people who desired control. A plan to establish Manav Dham in Ghaziabad, UP was planned, but no member got a plot for his money. The project failed, and somebody, in connivance with some people, then established there a great institute without any registration of land in its name, as I have learnt. I know not who was the adviser. The members lost lakhs of their rupees without any return. Bhagya Mataji, Dr. Sharma's wife, was assassinated in her bedroom in the mandir in the absence of her husband. So things turned from good to bad, and then from bad to worse. I need not go into the sordid details. By 1998, Hazur Manav Dayal Ji became most weak physically and incapable mentally to attend the satsangs even on a normal Sunday. The reasons must be known to those who were very close to him. So, in February 1998, Sri Harbans Lal Ji Gupta, the then secretary, wrote me a letter to come on every Sunday to give satsang to the satsangis in the absence of Manav Dayal Ji Maharaj, as I was one of the oldest and closest satsangi of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. I had purchased a car by this time to attend my college, so I drove it to satsang and spoke on the teachings of Babaji Maharaj for about 1 hour, and then came back on every Sunday along with my wife. I continued my duty towards satsangis on every Sunday, without knowing the other developments taking place in the mandir. But on one Baisakhi satsang, Manav Dayal Ji Maharaj, who was staying on the first floor, along with his party, was ordered to leave Manavta Mandir at midnight. By whose orders, I do not know. His Holiness Manav Dayalji Maharaj never returned to Manavta Mandir again and left for his heavenly abode at Faridabad from his own residence. His holy remains too were not brought to Manavta Mandir, but were cremated at Durgapur village in district Palwal of Haryana, on the land donated by a landlady, a devotee of Babaji. There Akhand Manavta Dham was established by Sri Shabd Nandji Maharaj. Here at Manavta Mandir, Sri Vijay Naresh Nagiji, a retired police officer from Haryana, who had become very close to Manav Dayalji Maharaj during the last few years, came and assumed the charge as spiritual head of Manavta Mandir. He claimed to be the successor of Manav Dayalji, as per a will written by Manav Dayalji Maharaj in his favour. No one questioned his claim, and Sri Nagiji, with the passage of time, became the overall controller of the Manavta Mandir by disbanding the old trust, making himself the president of the trust as well as the spiritual head of the mandir. He would come only on monthly satsang, but he allowed me to attend to satsangis on other Sundays as usual. He replaced everyone who did not follow his dictates. He removed Sri Gopal Krishan as secretary after using and misusing him. He replaced the most sincere and loyal devotee of Param Dayalji Maharaj, Sri Ranjit Ji too, when he refused to do his dictates, and appointed a non-follower of Sant Mat from Chandigarh as a secretary. By 2003, he assumed a new name as Shunyo Ji and started to advise the satsangis not to bow their heads on the Samad of Param Dayalji Maharaj, but to Sant Satguru Bhagat, namely only to him exclusively. For the second time in the monthly satsang he said, "Neither Baba Faqir nor Manav Dayalji is my Guru." This was too much for me to digest, so on the next Sunday, while giving satsang, I questioned Shunyoji. If he is not the disciple of Param Dayalji Maharaj and Manav Dayalji Maharaj, then let him tell who is his Guru and for whom he is controlling the seat of Param Dayalji Maharaj. So his informer man, whom he had made Acharya, to inform him of all activities of Manavta Mandir from time to time, at once informed him about what I had said about him in the satsang. Verbal orders came to stop my satsang. The chair on which I sat was removed, and the sound system was also packed up. But as per the desire of the satsangis, I continued my duty while sitting on the ground without a loudspeaker. Then, ultimately, written orders came that no one else except the Sant Satguru Bhagat can give the satsang in the Manavta Mandir. I received the orders by post, and I stopped to attend Sunday satsang. But I did not stop to go to Mandir to pay my homage at the Holy Samadhi Sthal from 2004 to 2006. During these 2 years, Manavta Mandir became a secondary centre, and all the offerings of the satsangis went out to some other centre. The satsangis were directed to visit Sant Satguru Bhagat at his new centre, which he made his permanent residence. A new and very costly car in the name of secretary was purchased out of Mandir funds for the Guru to travel from his centre to Manavta Mandir and back. The income of Manavta Mandir became negligible. When things so harmful and destructive for the Mandir started, some true devotees became active and decided to take action for the dignity of the Mandir and the teachings of Param Dayalji Maharaj. Meeting during December 2006, Sri Brahm Shankar Jimpaji, Sri Ranjit Ji, Sri Faqir Prasad, late Major Devinder Singh, Sri Malhan Sahib called a meeting with Sri Shunyo Sant Ji Maharaj at the residence of Dr. K.K. Sharma in the model town Hoshiarpur. I was requested to sit by the side of Sant Satguruji. I was questioned by the members as to why I am not coming to the Mandir on Sunday, as it was a regular routine for the last many years for you to give satsang. I handed over the written orders of the Sant Satguru. Then Sant Guru was asked to explain as to why he issued such orders. Sant Satguru folded his hands to beg pardon from me. I said, "Jaake hirday jhoot hai taake hirday paap, jaake hirday saach hai taake hirday aap," and said, "Please beg pardon from the members, not from me." I felt at that time some invisible power was working to do this all. So Shunyoji begged pardon from all the members present. and I was authorized to attend the satsang on every Sunday as usual. All enjoyed lunch provided by the generous Dr. K.K. Sharma ji, and we left thanking Dr. K.K. Sharma ji for his hospitality. January 14th, 2007. Monthly satsang. This was a day of Makar Sankranti, and a large number of satsangis had come to attend this important satsang. I too, along with my wife, were sitting among the satsangis. Shunyoji Maharaj came and asked me to sit on the stage. As he sat, he directed the secretary to bring something which was pre-planned. A big tray with sindoor, vermilion, dhoop, scented wick, sweets and some cloth in a bag came on the stage. Authorized for satsang, Sri Sunyoji took a turn towards me. Dhoop was burnt. He started to chant some mantras while sindoor was applied on my forehead. He then put a piece of barfi in my mouth and put the robe of Manushya Bano on my head to wear it, and then asked me to address the satsangis. He did this all not with a sincere heart, but he felt compelled by nature to do this all. The piece of barfi that he put in my mouth to eat was not simple, but it was laced with something else. The moment I had it, my stomach started to burn. I took a glass of water and spoke for about 45 minutes with determination. He did not speak. Satsang ended and prasad was distributed. I came down from the stage and told my wife about my condition. I drove home very fast, had some food, and rushed to the doctor, who examined and administered me with some injection without telling me about my pain, and simply said, "You are lucky to be here well in time." By the grace of my Sant Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, I came out safe from this trial. I do not know why this game was played on me. The result might have been different if I had not rushed to the doctor in time. Shunyoji Maharaj himself left the mandir without reasons. I have no knowledge, but the satsangis know all about the various nefarious episodes. During Baisakhi satsang of 2009, my revered Guru Bhai Captain Lal Chand Maharaj gave me the new name as Dayal Kamalji. So under this name, I am doing seva of the satsangis without any selfish motive of name, fame and money, as I promised to my Satguru in my telegram in September 1981. This is how the events brought me to the stage of seva of the followers of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj since 1998, with a gap of 2 years, that is, 2004 to 2006 AD. Chapter 32. Reconstruction of the Samad. His Holiness Manavta Dayal Ji Maharaj Ji got the Samad constructed. I do not know who the builders, architects and advisors of Maharaj Ji were. It was a structure of 3 pillars, joined at the top with a particular leaning. It was open to face all the weathers. So it was difficult for the satsangis to pay homage as and when they would visit. During this period, I was busy with my studies in Shimla. When I visited Mandir, I saw it and did feel differently about the structure. During 2004 to 2005, Sri Sunyoji Maharaj was in the Gaddi as Sant Satguru. It was Sunday as I went to pay my homage at the Samad. Sri Nand Sirhaji, an old satsangi of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, was standing in front of the Samad. He had come from Canada to pay homage. We were known to each other. He addressed me. "Kamalji, is the Samad of our great Satguru Babaji Maharaj? Please come forward. Let us reconstruct it as per the statue of our Satguruji. I shall bear all the expenses." "Sirha Sahib, let me talk to the present Guruji," I said. So he sat, and I went inside a room where the secretary was sitting, since nobody was allowed to visit the Guruji without permission. I requested the secretary to go inside and put the proposal to Shunyoji Maharaj for the reconstruction of the Samad, and the entire cost shall be paid by Sri Nand Sihraji, an NRI from Canada. A prompt answer to secretary came. "Ask him to deposit the money and we shall reconstruct it." When Nand Sirhaji learnt about it, he was shocked and said, "What type of guru is this, who did not bother to invite me inside and discuss the proposal in person? He simply needs money." So Sirha Sahib, as told to me, left directly to Dinod to sit at the holy feet of Sant Tarat Chandji. Later on, I learnt that after Sant Tara Chand ji left his body, he paid the entire amount to construct the present Samad of Sant Tara Chand ji Maharaj at Dinod, Haryana. The hand of Kal and Maya moves on its path of truth and justice, as per the mauj of the Karta Purush. Sri Shunyo Maharaj left Manavta Mandir with all his paraphernalia due to his own unwarranted deeds committed on the holy premises of Manavta Mandir. Now an impartial atmosphere in the Mandir came into existence with a new trust with Sri Brahm Shankar Chimpa as its president. All spiritual satsangs with more and more satsangis on the occasion of Guru Purnima, Prakash Utsav of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj on 18th November and Baisakhi Sant Sammelan for 3 days, started to become more and more, since it appealed to the satsangis who were focused on the teachings of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. As usual, all desired arrangements from boarding and loading were made for the satsangis who came to attend the Guru Purnima Satsang of 2011. I always reach Manavta Mandir 1 day earlier on such auspicious occasions. On the night before Guru Purnima, there were heavy rains throughout the night. All the roads of Hoshiarpur were flooded with water. The level of water in the courtyard of Mandir and of the road was the same. The main hall, many rooms, and the Samad, which was at the ground level, were also in flood up to one's knees. It was not possible to reach there to pay homage. Thanks to my Satguru Ji, the rain stopped early in the morning. All members of the trust and satsangis made their best efforts to clear the hall and foregrounds. The pumps of the municipal committee were brought to pump out the water. So by 10 a.m., the satsang took place. Sri Sarwan Singh Ji, head of the langar, and his workers too, succeeded in clearing the hall for the langar at 1 p.m. These rains on the eve of Guru Purnima were a blessing in disguise. After satsang, I proposed a meeting of the trust with Sri Pardesi, the patron in the chair. It was unanimously decided to rebuild the Samad without disturbing the centre containing the holy remains of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. The committees were constituted to start the job on 18th November 2011, the birthday of Maharaj Ji. The architects were contacted to submit their proposals in the form of structure of the Samad. 2 gentlemen came with a dome-like structure, with a small entrance but without any window. It was rejected. I requested Sri Tejram, retired SDO, to use his resources for this job. Since his son too is an architect, he got one beautiful structure in the form of a photo. It was appreciated by all, and I emailed it to America for the approval of a great devotee of Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. He too was very happy with the design and rang me up to start the work, and also sent a sufficient amount by cheque to Mandir for the job. I cannot write the name of the gentleman, as desired by him on the telephone. The work of dismantling and rebuilding. As decided earlier, the work was started on the birthday of His Holiness Babaji Maharaj. So I reached Manavta Mandir on 16th November early morning. All committee members and other members were present. All stood in silence and prayed for the blessing of Babaji Maharaj to dismantle and rebuild the Samad. The services of JCB were used to get the old structure removed. The statue of His Holiness was submerged in the flood water, and by the 17th evening, area for the new Samad was cleared of the debris. Foundation stone laid. On 18th November 2011. On the 18th morning, the trustees requested me to lay the foundation stone before satsang. So, under his mauj, I got the privilege to lay the stone of the present Param Shanti Sthal, along with Sri Jimpaji. Sri Ranjit was in charge of construction with Sri Tejramji SDO, and other members started the work on war footing. I received a return ticket by air to visit Hyderabad to select the best granite, since Hyderabad is known for the best granite and marble. So, I went to Hyderabad, stayed there for 3 days with a gentleman, and made the best choice of granite which is used in the flooring, and 5-foot steps to reach Sanctum Sanctorum. A truckload of granite reached from Rajasthan. Sri Ranjit Ji and Sri Tejram Ji made their best efforts to make the structure as best as possible with the finest material available. All trustees took keen interest to complete it in all respects before Baisakhi Satsang of 2012. By the grace of Satguru Paramdayal Ji Maharaj, the flag of Manavta Manir was unfurled by this Sevak on 13th April 2012. The hall with Sanctum Sanctorum in the center has a capacity of about 100 people to sit and do Abhyas Sadhana. Proper lights, facility of air conditioning, curtains, and with 3 photographs of His Holiness are fixed on the right, left, and front walls of the structure, with quotations from the sermons of His Holiness under every photograph. Renovation from inside during 2019. This year on Baisakhi Purab, Sri Rajinder Singh Ji from New Jersey, USA, and his younger brother Sri Padam Singh Ji from Toronto, Canada, also came to attend this Purab. A few days ago, they asked me to do any new work in the mandir. I expressed my desire that I want to renovate the Param Shanti Sthal in such a way that it does not require any whitewash every time from within. They suggested fixing plastic sheets as already done in the satsang hall. When I said that time is short and it may not be possible before Baisakhi, they assured us that it is our duty. So within a very few days, they got it complete in all respects with a new look, which deserves appreciation for these brothers. Param Shanti Sthal is a center of tranquility, human brotherhood, and love. In the coming future, it shall be a place of pilgrimage for all human beings, without any consideration of caste, creed, race, religion, and country. This is the mission of His Holiness Paramdayal Ji Maharaj. This is the center of Manavta for years to come. Chapter 33. Recording of Discourses, from Spool to CD. It was sometime during 2013. While sitting in the satsang hall, I happened to see some wooden boxes fixed on the wall to the right side of the holy statue of His Holiness Tata Dayal Ji Maharaj. Sri Tej Ram Ji SDO was sitting with me. I asked him just to check these boxes. When he opened them, it was a great surprise to us to find the oldest recording of satsangs by Seth Durgadas Ji on his heavy spool recording machine. This valuable treasure of truth revealed by Satguru Paramdayal Ji Maharaj remained confined in these boxes for so many years. I felt very lucky to have noticed them, collected and counted them. There were 190 spools containing satsangs for the periods from the 60s to 80s. I requested Sri Ranjit Ji to provide one steel almirah for their safe custody. He is so kind that he immediately made the necessary arrangement for it. Now, the lurking question was to get them recorded on the latest CDs in the market. I contacted all my sources without any success. Then I requested Sri Satcha Singh Ji to find someone to record them on CDs. He at his own level contacted All India Radio Jalandhar and Doordarshan Kendra too for this purpose. They all conveyed that this system of spool recording had been replaced by a new system since a long time back. This was very discouraging. One day, very casually, I rang up dear Dr. Amit Chawla in England to find some source where we could get a spool recording on CDs and then on pen drive. He assured me that he would make a search online and then inform me. After about 2 days, he sent me the telephone number and address of Sri Sekharji in Delhi who could do this job. It was good news. Now the question was who would do this job to contact him and get the work done. There was none who could spare his time to do this noble work. The Mauj of Satguru Maharaj is very great and always by my side. Sometime in September-October 2014, I received a message from Professor David C. Lane from America that he was visiting Delhi in November 2014, and he would like to spend some time with me in Delhi. I got the date of his visit and planned to visit Sri Shekharji and also Professor David with arrangements of my stay with my son Kuldeepak at Gurgaon. I hired a taxi of my own, had 4 spool recording with me, and left for Delhi, stayed for the night with my son, and next day left to see Professor David in his hotel. He was already waiting for me. He recorded my interview for about 1.5 hours. We exchanged our old memories of his first visit to His Holiness during 1978 over a cup of tea. Then I left with my son in the taxi to Sri Shekhar in New Delhi for recording. He was already waiting for me, as he had already decided on the phone a few days earlier. He has an established workshop with different types of machines. I handed over my one spool to first check its sound. As he loaded one spool for checking, it gave a very fine sound, as if His Holiness was speaking to us in person at that time. I felt happy and satisfied with my efforts. Now the question came of his charges. He demanded 2,000 rupees for one spool recording on CD plus pen drive. We were helpless and pleaded for less charges, since we have 190 such spools. Then he agreed for 1,500 per spool. We gave him the other 3 too and requested him to record them on CD within 3 days, so that I may take them back on my return and make arrangements to send him other spools in installments. He did the job, and I returned after deciding to supply him spools from time to time. Now the question was, who would go to Delhi twice a month for this purpose? There was none to come forward. I rang up Sri Ram Bachchan, an ardent follower of the teachings of Babaji. When I put the proposal to him, he agreed to do the job. I asked that gentleman to pay Sri Ram Bachchan a one-way railway fare, and the other would be paid by us, so he agreed. Sri Ram Bachchan on his own settled the commonplace to hand over and take over the spools and the CDs twice a month, with 25 spools in one go. I expressed my heartfelt thanks to Sri Ram Bachchan ji and blessings of my Satguru that he did this job very sincerely. Now we have all the recordings of my Satguru Param Dayal ji Maharaj in our library in the form of CDs and pen drives for the Satsangis. I feel happy and blessed that his Mauj of Param Shanti Sthal and re-recording of old Satsang done from me. I was always ready to move to any place to convey the message of truth and humanity of my Satguru ji to those who have a desire for it. I visited America for a month during 2018, and this year Canada and America for more than 40 days. Conveyed the message of my Satguru to thousands of people as how to live a happy and satisfied life in this age of Kal Yuga, as revealed by Satguru Param Dayal ji Maharaj. Chapter 34. Who am I? In my early life, as already written in previous chapters, I had 3 questions. 1. Why do people die? 2. Why do they become old? 3. Am I also to die? These were questions to my mother. She had assured me that these questions shall be answered by a Guru. So her assurance had ignited a fire of hope in my mind, and the search for a Guru continued. Ultimately, this inner desire bore the fruit, and it led me to the holy feet of Sant Satguru Vakat Param Dayal Faqir Ji Maharaj, at the residence of Master Mohan Lal Ji during the year of 1956. Then I was 18 years old. Circumstances are a sufficient proof to say that His Holiness was just waiting for me to start the satsang of the day. I, in a very devotional condition, knelt in front of Babaji, put my head in his holy feet, and sat just in front of him. His Holiness put his hand on my head, and as I raised my head, His Holiness gave me the book Sarbachan of Swamiji Maharaj, and pointed to me to read a shabd titled, Guru Mohe Apna Roop Dikhao, Guru, show me thy form. I sang this shabd very devotionally and emotionally, and His Holiness answered all inner questions one by one, and I surrendered myself to Holiness there and then forever. His Holiness chiseled my life by His grace. Now it became my routine to attend every monthly satsang, read shabd as per the direction of His Holiness, and new thoughts about life, self, deeds, etc. The end started to come clear to me. During May 1959, when emotionally charged, I visited His Holiness at his 18 Railway Mandi residence. He very compassionately initiated me and directed me to see Guru within by putting this forefinger as a particular point on my forehead. Thereafter, life started to have change in itself. Now, Simran of the word Radha Swami and meditation on the holy form of Babaji Maharaj became my routine daily early in the morning, but very rarely in the evening. By the blessing of my Satguru, this practice became a boon for me. All requirements of my life started to come my way without asking for them. I passed MA in 1962. After last satsang at the residence of Master Mohanlal, I got a posting at Patiala, then at Narnaul Government College. On the bifurcation of the Punjab state, I came to Dharamshala in 1967. During this period, though, I could not visit for monthly satsang, but I continued to get blessings and guidance from Babaji Maharaj by letters. I came to Himachal Pradesh on transfer. Maharaj Ji visited me twice at Dharamshala, and once at Hamirpur, about which I have already written in detail in previous chapters. Why I came in this world? This is the main question that requires an answer. This answer I got most satisfactorily in the company of my Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. 1. I am here in this world to reap pending fruits of deeds done in my previous life. 2. I am here to reap the fruits of those deeds that I have done up to this day. 3. I shall have to come again, if still I have desires to fulfill, and leave the body without having them completed. Or, if I am attached with any physical form, that is, the holy form of Satguruji Manavta Mandir, or with any property, male, female members of the family, myself, the Surat, shall not be able to go beyond the gravity of earth. For I am here to clear the debts and credits of near and dear ones, relatives and all others who have come my way. The final realization. By sitting at the holy feet of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, by listening to his word in person, by translating various satsangs of His Holiness in English books, which now are more than 20, and by undertaking the inward practice of Surat Shabda Yoga, what I have realized is that I am not the physical body, I am not the mind, I am not soul, but I am an element known as Surat. Without this element or Surat, or consciousness or Chetan Shakti, this body becomes motionless. Eyes stop to see, rather get shut, ears become dumb and tongue stops to speak, and no part of body feels any effects of hot and cold. So the driver of this trinity, that is, body, mind and soul, is consciousness or Surat. Body is constituent of 5 elements, that is, earth, water, fire, wind and ether, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu and Akash. Mind is an outcome of Prakash, light. It represents the universal mind in the human body. Soul is light, and part of Supreme Soul, light, Parbrahm and Surat, is an ansh from the supermost consciousness. In the words of His Holiness Param Dayal Ji Maharaj, our body is from Sabal Brahm, mind is from Shuddha Brahm, soul is from Pat Brahm, and Surat or self is from Shabda Brahm. Hence the practice of Surat Shabda Yoga is the path within. It is the only way to reach our eternal abode under the guidance of perfect Master. This practice of sadhana abhyas I undertook as per the advice and guidance of Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj from the day I was initiated in 1959, and I do it as per his word. Now I remain aware of my ultimate eternal abode. So what am I? I am a bubble of consciousness. I am here in this body as per His will. I shall mingle in the ocean of superconsciousness as a drop in the ocean at His will. I have done deeds while in body. I have tried to do bhakti while in mind. I have tried to gain knowledge, gyan, at the level of soul, and with the grace of my Satguru Param Dayal Ji Maharaj. I have realized the 4th one, the Surat. What is Surat? I have no words at my command to explain it. It is silence. 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 Radha Swami,